Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts, Klaus Nightbringer, Sertomono, Seyo Mayo, and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio. We are on episode 20, you guys. Can you believe that?
Damn, that went by fast.
I know, right? It seems like just yesterday that we were just some bunch of punks who wanted to start up a podcast because we were bored.
You mean we're still not that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we are like right now.
Yeah,
you're right, I guess.
We haven't changed much.
Then you guys just found me on the streets, and then, you know.
You're like, hey, look, Lalafell, let's bring them in.
Yes, I'm hungry for potatoes.
Token Lalafell. Hashtag.
I figured we'd implode somewhere around like episode 8.
Well, but we're still here, and we have a lot of wonderful people watching us today, live on twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. We are in 3.3, people. The pre-patch lull is gone. Now it's the post-patch psychopathic running of things. I don't know the words.
Is there really a term for that?
I don't think so, but
I like binge.
The post-patch binge. I was trying to be alliterative, but it kind of failed.
No, that's silly. You're silly. Why would you ever do that?
I don't know.
Just have word vomit come out. Bleh.
That's
P&B
most
are
days.
typos.
The term is logorrhea. It's like diarrhea, but with words.
Is that a legit thing?
That is
Yes.
real, yes.
Oh my god.
Like diarrhea, the root words literally means flowing water. Logorrhea would be flowing words. You learned something today.
Yes.
The more you know.
Oh my
I feel
god.
like it bring us
Do you
into
know what I would do for that as an emote?
Oh. Yoshi, if you're listening, please.
It would be beautiful.
But yeah, instead of the exclamation point, it's da 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 da. The little shooting star over there. I did finally bring us back into the game, so here we are. We are sitting down in the brand new Fountain Plaza in Idleshire. So if you're on Hyperion and want to spam the camera with emotes, by all means, come down and join us.
Do you have to encourage them?
Why not? You know,
It's a fun time.
We are trying to build the community here, so we do want to be inclusive, not exclusive. You know,
Someone's gonna figure out how to make their crotch take up the entirety of the camera, and then it's all downhill from there.
I can move the camera.
No way.
That's a thing.
My immersion.
I am in control of all that you see and hear. And I'm not lying.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
I'm not gonna lie, it is terrifying. But anyway, welcome everybody. We appreciate you.
This power.
I appreciate you guys, everybody stopping by. If you're new to us and like what you hear so far, go ahead and give us a follow here on Twitch. You click the little heart button down there, and you'll know when we go live. We do this every other Saturday night, as well as random streams throughout the week. Different things going on, and random shenanigans is what I like to do a lot. So yeah, if you enjoy it, go ahead and give us a follow here. We'd appreciate that. So as everybody knows, we do have the brand new patch upon us. We're no longer bored waiting for it happening. So what has everybody been up to since the last show?
A lot of relic grinding.
Lucals.
Let me tell you a tale.
Oh boy.
A tale of Lunavox. A tale of how... when did this patch come out?
Tuesday.
A tale of Monday night, early Tuesday morning, of Lunavox staying up all night Twitch streaming, waiting for a house to come out.
And then getting one.
I waited up all night. I was Twitch streaming, reading through the patch notes. Paul was there with me. And a few minutes before 5 a.m., because that's the time it was coming out on our time zone, I shut down the stream. I made sure anything that was sucking up my internet was off, so I could get optimal, like the best internet I could to log into the game. I log into the game. I'm sitting in a queue. I'm 507, waiting. I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, and like, I started getting really nervous. I get in there. Luckily, I'm already in lavender bed, so I teleport to the 10th ward, run my ass off. I don't use the freaking Ethernet thing because that's dumb. And I run up, and I got myself a medium house.
Very nice. Congratulations.
A little less sex and violence than I expected, but 7 out of 10.
You weren't there. You don't know.
Well,
how did you get that house again?
You did have to shove somebody out of the way, right? I mean, that's how, like, Black Friday-esque things work.
I saw several people. I ran by them. I ducked and weaved.
And you shoved them, right?
I could have, but I didn't. In my mind, I did.
She found a batch of Gala kittens just hiding in the corner and threw them at them.
How they got in the lavender beds, I don't know, but
they were smuggled.
You think there's like illegal trade, like you can't trade Gala cats across like Ishgard borders.
It's like a protected species. You have like crop infestations. That's a thing, right?
Sure.
Sure.
Awesome.
So anyway, we will be eventually doing a show from Luna's house. She's still working on getting it just right. So
I'm taking donations so I can buy more housing items. If you would like to give me the gil, please send it to Luna Vox on Hyperion.
That's where the sex and violence comes in, I guess.
You know that Simpsons episode where Bleeding Gums Murphy had that Fabergé egg habit? This is that.
Don't judge me.
All right, so Luna got her house. Sarah is playing with Moogles. Sayo is grinding the
grinding
Anima.
The good grind.
I did a little bit of everything, actually. I basically did the story. I did the side quests. I've unlocked the Beast Tribe quests. I already had a house, so I didn't need to get a new one. But yeah, I mean, I've been just enjoying this patch. And we'll talk about our opinions of it here a little bit later on in the show. But so that's that. A little more show-related news. For those of you who may or may not be aware, we do have a sister podcast, Moogle Go Round Radio. Their newest episode, episode 4, went up live this past Tuesday. And it's up on our website at phoenixdownradio.com. They recorded prior to the patch actually dropping. So they discussed the preliminary patch notes and just had a good time talking about it. So go check it out at the website. A little more news related to that. We will be doing the first live episode of Moogle Go Round Radio right here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio this coming Saturday. It'll show up as, on the Phoenix Down, but it will be Moogle Go Round. So Paul and Chili will be hosting, and we will be guest hosting with them this coming week. So stop by and check that out, and we'll have it up and ready for everybody to listen to later on as well. So come check them out and enjoy the British side of Final Fantasy podcasting.
I have a little bit of show news that I'd like to share with.
Go right ahead.
So, a week from now, on the 18th, around noon our time, noon Central Time, if you would like to experience the most silliest and dumbest wedding in the face of Eorzean history, please let me know, because I am getting married to Paul Metal as a friendship ceremony, so he can teleport to my house, and that's it.
Wow, is this
so
like
if you would like to experience that?
I thought that was set for midnight.
Is that like the Eorzean?
Is it midnight? I don't know what time it is.
Equivalent of a green card marriage?
Probably.
Yeah, this is exactly a green card marriage. A marriage visa marriage, actually.
Oh, that's funny.
It says 12 p.m. Is that midnight?
Oh,
12 p.m. is noon.
That is noon. Okay.
Yeah, so it is noon.
All right. I just saw 12. I thought I saw A. So, like, are we doing this after the show or what?
You can't read.
Nope, apparently I can't.
A's are not P's.
That sounds like some type of really unfortunate slogan.
They can be though if you're really, really, really dyslexic.
Well,
Okay.
who knows? Getting lots of congratulations in the chat. So
Congratulations on the friend zone marriage.
exactly.
That's exactly what this is.
You need like a little engraving on a thing saying, doing this for tax purposes.
Exactly.
Yeah, we asterisks doing for tax purposes. Teleportation perks.
It's all about the perks, right? The fringe
You know,
benefits.
This is totally like the start of a romantic comedy. They're doing it just for the teleportation benefits, but then they're going to
Have
slowly
you been
fall
to
in
my
love.
house?
I'm not
Sure.
once.
You did a while ago, but you haven't seen it since I kind of changed it up last night. There's a secret room in there.
Oh god.
Oh god.
There's a secret room that I share my house with a couple of friends of mine that are a couple, and they play Lalafels. And I told them they can have a room and decorate it however they want, but the condition is I have to be able to seal them up in order for them to do so. So I have a secret underground Lala hidden railroad.
Is this entirely legal?
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
not. There's no written
not
law against
illegal.
it. There's a difference between illegal and immoral, I guess. But
Yeah, not illegal. Might be immoral, but
well, everybody knows you keep photos in the cellar, so
exactly.
Well, it's not really underground though. It's on the second floor.
It's
anyway.
hidden.
We've derailed this train quite a bit already. So let's talk about a little bit of game and community news. This has
Did
actually
we
been
derail the Underground Railroad?
It's the overhead railroad of Lalafels.
Oh. Anyway, sorry, Klaus.
this is actually a pretty big week for Final Fantasy related news. World of Final Fantasy was finally given a release date. October 25th of 2016 we'll be seeing that game released for PS4. So I already got my version on pre-order. I don't know about you guys.
I haven't pre-ordered it quite yet. I don't even know enough about it.
Yeah, same
Probably
here.
once I actually know something about it, I'll end up going for it because, let's face it, I'm kind of their bitch that way. But
we did talk about it on the website. And let me see if I can bring up that information here. Waiting for everything to load. Basically, in World of Final Fantasy, players lead a pair of twins, Rain and Lan, through the land of Grimoire to search for their lost memories. Throughout their adventures, players collect, raise, and battle chibi versions of classic Final Fantasy characters and beasts, including cactuars, chocobos, behemoths, and more. So it's basically a little chibi version of Final Fantasy.
No, you know what this is? This is Kingdom Hearts with a Pokemon aspect in it. That's exactly what it is.
so how long before everyone's ranting about darkness? Like, that's the main thing I got out of Kingdom Hearts. Something complicated plan, darkness, darkness, darkness.
I'll give it 3 minutes.
I guess I thought it looked cute, so I ordered it, and I think it'll be fun. So
Oh, yeah, no.
Probably
Oh yeah, it's cute as hell, but
But if it's Kingdom Hearts-esque, then I'm expecting convoluted plans. This may just be me ragging on Kingdom Hearts. This is me ragging on Kingdom Hearts.
I liked Kingdom Hearts initially, but I don't know. They kind of went in a weird direction after 2, with all those weird names and numbers in there. So none of it made sense to me. Anyway, more big news from this past week. Final Fantasy XII HD remake was confirmed for 2017.
Oh, thank fucking God, finally.
So that's going to be coming out for PS4 and Xbox One at this point. They have not announced a release date for PC.
oh,
And yes, everyone, for those doubting, yes, it will be the International Zodiac Job Edition. So
Yep.
you will have challenge mode, you will have all 5 judge fights, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. I've just wanted the International Edition to help a little bit with that choice paralysis. That was one of the things that absolutely killed me when I first played. I never did get all the way through. I actually still feel kind of bad about that. I never got all the way through Final Fantasy XII.
Me either. I stopped around Wraith Walls 2, and I'm like, I'll probably pick this up again later. And then Final Fantasy 11 happened.
Now, I did it. I beat it about 3 years ago when I was laid up after my surgery. So I did finally slog through and beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
So those who haven't played
never
it,
played it, so-
Mato in chat and Fox, I do recommend it. It's interesting. I kind of liken it to a single player MMO, the way that the world is set up, and you can set up all these different, not necessarily macros, but the way they have their gambit system. You can kind of just run through, and when you get close to a monster, it will automatically do what you specified it to do for you.
My understanding is that plot-wise, if you liked a lot of the Evil stuff, Final Fantasy Tactics, a lot of those sort of political thrillers and the like, that there's a lot for you there.
Yep, I mean, yeah, this is based off in the Evilist world. So, I mean, it's the summons are different. It's not your Shiva and Ifrit and Titan. You've got the different ones like Belias and Famfrit and
Mateus.
Yep, exactly.
Zalera.
Zodiark. Names you all heard in 14 as well. But yeah, you've got that's the Espers, their summons over there. So
some of you might even remember I talked about them in a lore segment a couple weeks back.
Exactly. So so that's going to be coming out. They haven't given an exact date, but they did confirm it will be out in 2017.
Looking forward to it.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually personally going to wait until the PC version comes out, but I will be getting it once it does come out. So.
Good stuff.
For those of you who have been extremely jealous of all the JP players getting their free stuff from 7-Eleven, fear not, because Square Enix announced a partnership with Amazon to bring all those items over to the NA market.
Yay!
Starting on this coming Tuesday, qualifying purchases of at least $19.99 in Amazon's video game department, you will receive a code that will unlock in-game items, including the Titan-themed Crag mask, the maid and butler attire, the original Fat Chocobo, the Ifrit-themed Inferno mask, and 99 magic prism wings. This is exclusive to NA, so people in Amazon.co.uk and EU players, you guys will get your own, I'm sure, in the future, but this one is for NA. So they're probably just working through the different groups that they can find partnership rights with to do that.
Also, you just know that someone's going to ask some American to order codes for them.
Paul, we've got you covered.
Guys, by the way, if you're wondering what the magic prism wings are, it's that you just get big glowing wings on your back.
Yep.
Ooh.
Similar to the ones that you get those for the wedding, right?
Yep, you get them after you get married, along with your big ugly pink cake.
But now I don't have a reason to commit marriage fraud.
I mean, you still
Yay!
get that ceremonial chocobo.
Ooh,
you pay
marriage
for it.
fraud is
Yeah, but
back on the table.
You have to pay for that one though. But yes, I am assuming that the codes will be region locked. So unfortunately, we probably won't be, unless you have an NA account, you will not be able to apply the code to it. So it's just kind of how these licensing deals work. I know it kind of sucks for people, but I'm assuming they're going to do something very similar over in the EU market as well. So fear not.
Wasn't that Fat Chocobo? Wasn't that a special white one? I know they were showing it off.
It is the white Fat Chocobo.
Oh.
So it's not the one that we have already.
Correct. It will be another
then-
Fat Chocobo.
Fat Chocobo stores your items, White Chocobo heals you, so White Fat Chocobo fixes your stuff and then stores it? Is that how that works?
Or just eats it.
Ew.
Does the white chocobo fly?
Yeah.
Cool!
I mean, it's a Fat Chocobo, so
It will also
It's-
fly with cake, I'm assuming. Either that or
Everyone loves
KFC.
cake.
Oh god.
I mean, it's called the
Cannibalism.
OFC, so make it eat. Want to fly with KFC.
That's-
Oh god.
Kentucky
Can we
Fried
not
Chocobo.
add cannibalism to these mounts?
We do Chocobo, right?
Wow.
Well, okay.
Kentucky
This
Fried
is-
Chocobo.
Exactly.
Like, we're not even 15 minutes into the show, and this is what's happening already, people.
Actually, we're 20 minutes into the show.
You know what? Don't. No.
Totes went there. All right, and in a little bit more news, Blue Garter had a couple of new posts, some translations of different interview sources that were translated by a Slicer out there. One article is the Famitsu translation where Yoshi talks about patch 3.3. Did you guys get a chance to read through some of this?
Yeah,
I did not.
The other interview was the one that really caught my attention.
Yep.
There was one where he was talking about 3.35 and later on. I'll mention, just so I can steal your thunder, Klaus. No, actually, I thought it was super fascinating. They talked a little bit about the Palace of the Dead, some of the stuff that it drew inspiration from the lessons they learned from Diadem.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a couple episodes back, we were talking about things like Diadem, and we had this whole focus on like trying to revitalize it. But he talked a little bit about his perspective as, hey, this is something where we're testing this idea, seeing, hey, we've got this general idea for how to do this. We're going to make an experimental one and see how it works out. And so I could see, hey, if this was an experimental one, maybe it's too difficult to change it into what they want. But it seems like they had still learned a lot of really good lessons for what people are looking for to apply to that.
Though in that second article that they talked about, they did actually discuss Diadem, talking about how a major part of it, which was added as exploration content, was developed to be experimental to see how players would utilize the system. And they're talking about how, you know, the difference between a first generation MMO versus a second generation MMO. For those who maybe aren't familiar with what a first and second generation MMO are, Sarah, why don't you kind of explain what that is? I read about it. Let's see. I can't find where that was at.
I mean, TLDR, it's basically first generations like EverQuest, Astronaut's Call, Final Fantasy 11.
It also has to do with the way the content is presented as well. First generation MMOs are they're a little more grindy, a little more difficult, whereas the second generation MMOs are a lot more point and click, a lot easier for most people to get into.
Yeah, it seems like there's a kind of big design philosophy of, oh, you have to earn you have to earn the right to be able to do enjoyable content. Versus the, hey, we're going to make it so you can have an enjoyable experience from the get-go without necessarily having to earn it. Which I think really resonates with people who are a bit busier or who don't necessarily want to sink in a bunch of time to find out that, hey, your enjoyable content isn't that great.
One thing that I liked about the second article is when they're talking about Deep Dungeon. Initially, when it launches in 3.35, it's going to have a cap of 50 floors, and they expect that people are going to be able to get through. You'll be level 60 once you hit that point. So you'll start at level 1 and work your way up independently to level 60. This is the really cool part that I liked. Even if you're not level 60 outside the dungeon, you can hit level 60 inside the dungeon.
Huh.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They talked about you could go in as a level 10 character. And
no, you have to be 17.
Okay, but you go in as a level 17 character, say. And through the course of the dungeon, inside the dungeon, since you do level up much more rapidly, it's a lot like a roguelike in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
But you do level up. You could reach level 60 within the dungeon, and you won't be able to keep that power when you go out, but you do get a little bit of that taste of power, that little, hey, this is what's going to be it's like later on.
Yep. They also talked about the save points are going to be after the boss fights every 10 floors.
Yeah, the mechanics look a little bit complex for if you're how it records your progress if you're doing it in groups versus your solo stuff, or if you've got multiple groups. But I'm sure they're going to be explaining that a bit more as it gets closer.
I try to understand it. My head started to hurt.
From my understanding of it, and we will link these interviews in the show notes after this goes live. So if you guys want to read it as well, go right ahead. We'll link all this to you guys. But from the way I understood it, what was I going to say?
The save system.
So you're gonna basically have just one save. So if you go in solo, that's going to be your progress will be saved as that solo. But if you go in as another group, it's going to reset.
It seems like mostly they're trying to avoid having people cheese it and say like, oh, hey, I've got this thing now. I can carry you to this further one.
Yeah, I remember in 11 you could do that, couldn't you, with Nigel?
Yeah, that was something that people were definitely looking for, someone who had enough of a clear to be able to carry everyone up.
But in this one, you're going to go based off. I mean, and I think they did say you could kind of bring somebody who was close in level to you, but your progress is going to overwrite and you're going to be saved at that point then, once you hit the next save point.
It definitely seemed like they wanted to avoid a lot of the cheesing that goes on.
Yep. And we might not be fully understanding it correctly either, but like I said, we will link it so you can go ahead and read it and develop your own opinion on it. It sounds like that once they expand it, it's going to expand to 200 floors. They're going to go from 50 to 200 sometime in the 3.x series.
And a big part of it is also, like, even for those who make it down to the bottom, repeating it is going to allow you to build up the power of items that you can then bring out of the dungeon.
So there's a lot of cool stuff in there. For people who are moving on beyond the deep dungeon, one thing they had asked about was, is there going to be anything added to the gold saucer, kind of mount-wise or gear-wise, for people who are kind of holding off saving their MGP for Fenrir? I mean, is there something bigger and better coming down the road? Yoshi said no. So at least not in the 3.x series. So, I mean, if you are just about ready to get your Fenrir, by all means, go ahead and get it and just start rebuilding again.
Yeah, if they have more events like that Make It Rain campaign, it's not going to be that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, even the challenge log boosts, as we talked about before, that's definitely made it a lot easier to build up that MGP.
But no, both of these are really good reads, and I do recommend that you go and check them out. Like I said, we'll be linking them in the show notes.
Yeah. I really like where they were talking about the diadem and a lot of these things where, hey, they're experimenting with this. That does make it feel a bit more like, even when stuff does fall flat, it's not because, oh, they're just being careless about it. They are trying stuff out. They're being experimental. Some of those experiments aren't always going to be successful, but it is something they're giving consideration to.
And it does sound like they're going to do something else with Diadem. They're not going to, I don't think they're just going to let it die, but they just haven't figured out what exactly they're going to do.
Right. But the amount of thought and consideration that goes into every step of this is really impressive.
Yep. So, I mean, it kind of gives us a look into the development process, what Yoshi and his team go through when they create content for us and how they want to keep it relevant moving on. So they do kind of listen to us, maybe not specifically us, but they listen to the groups and they do what they can.
You can't do every single thing that every person suggests, otherwise you get pulled in all directions at once.
Exactly. So that's that. If you have anything that you want to talk about community news wise, like on your servers, your free companies, and you want us to talk about it on our next show, you can always shoot us an email at podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. We will read it on the air for you and we'll advertise that for you because we do want to include things in the community. We've talked about different streamers and content creators who have charity events going on and things like that. So, you know, by all means, let us know. We'll be happy to share that information with other players out there, other people listening to our show. And
there's always so much going on.
Exactly. We want to help you guys to get that out there as well. So. And you can always follow us at PHXDN Radio on Twitter as well. So this is what everybody came to listen to, is they want our opinions on the patch. At least that's my assumption, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because, you know,
I figured they like to hear us bicker.
They do not.
They totally do. What are you even talking about?
I don't know what you're going on about, but we're going to talk about the patch. So, who's done what?
I've done everything and anything.
And don't worry, folks, this is spoiler-free zone. Don't worry, we're not going to spoil any of the storyline for you. We may talk about a little bit of events that happen, but everything we talk about is going to either have been shown in the patch trailer or talked about in an interview or something like that. Chili apparently is here for Sarah's voice. So,
ooh, thank you.
All right. But we're not going to spoil your story, which the story is amazing. There's not a lot of quests, like they said, but one thing that they did say was the content of said quest is very deep. So please don't skip the cutscenes, because that's what this story really has. I mean, this game is so story rich. There's a lot of feels. Right, guys?
A A lot of feels.
They have really been building this up for quite a while. Like, what is at stake, both on a personal and on a overall for Ishgard level. So it really had this momentous feel to it.
I mean, yeah, they get the dragons involved again. I think we can say this: what Sorkai is. It's basically a dungeon to test us, to test our mettle.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
For
Probably
those
the most beautiful dungeon in the whole entire game.
For those who don't know about what it is, Sorkai is Ratatosker's former home. Ratatosker was killed by the Ishgardians way back, and that's why a lot of this war has been going on.
Yep, that's pretty much the precipitating event of the Dragon Song War.
That was the straw that broke the dragon's back. So to speak.
I mean, like, it's not even that. Like, they actually got along before it. That was the, like, complete and utter betrayal.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So this is actually where she lived. And we basically go up there. They're testing our mettle to make sure that we're worthy of, doing what we need to do. So,
yeah.
Like I said, without
there's a lot of
spoiling
complicated
anything.
stuff going on.
I'm trying to choose my words very carefully here. So
Yeah,
yes,
you just walked into a minefield there, Klaus.
Yeah, I can tell.
but I stopped.
But yes, but it is a really gorgeous dungeon. Mechanics weren't terribly difficult. Like, it didn't feel like, okay, we are going to punish you and keep you from going on this. Like, it's going to be a challenge, but a reasonable challenge.
But there's some good challenge, I thought. I mean, I thought some of the mechanics were very clever. You may have seen us stream some of them on patch day. I streamed a little bit of the dungeons and our favorite Void Ark, which was Weeping City. We'll be talking about that in a bit here later on. But
yeah, a lot of the mechanics I think did a really good job of creating this sort of like intense panicked feel, especially a lot of stuff with the last fight in there. Just what the battlefield does ends up creating this really intense feeling, and I really enjoyed that.
That is one of the most epic dungeon boss fights that I've ever been a part of, just because of the arena. It's not your standard circle or square.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know that's something that people have complained about, that everything ends up being this standardized circle square type thing, which they've mentioned about. They recognize that's an issue. They have talked previously about some of the reasons that they have to do that, but they pulled out something really interesting for that. And it made it feel really intense, really added a lot to that battle. So well done, whoever was designing that.
And we're supposed to talk about how we carried Paul. I believe that's what that says in the chat. How we all went in there and we carried Paul.
I don't know. I mean, the first time that we went in there, I think he was our healer, and it didn't seem that bad.
No. Carried, cradled in your arms, singing him gentle lullabies to soothe him to sleep.
Exactly.
That's a thing, right?
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Wait. Can I say something real
Love
quick
you,
about
Paul.
that? So this is the first dungeon that I've ever seen that actually had useful trash.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering if that was going to end up becoming something more involved later on. You'll see it you'll know it when you see it, but it was actually a little bit surprising. Just an odd little touch there.
like, oh my god, this is finally in the game now. Foreshadowing.
People that don't know what the hell we're talking about, they're going to be like, they're being vague as fuck. God.
It was fun and surprising. They'll find out.
All right.
Yeah.
Then we push further on in the story. We end up fighting Nidhogg, and that is a fun battle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that did have a suitably epic feel to it.
People, if you watch the stream when I did it, they voted they wanted to see it, so I did show it on stream, but I'm not going to talk about it here, so don't worry. But it was very epic. It was wonderfully done and very enjoyable as fuck. So great job on that story.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that fight?
Yeah, we can talk. You mean the fact that how everybody is dropping out when you get it in your trial roulette?
Well, I mean the fact that I go in there, I definitely see more people than I'm comfortable with
Oh, Paul.
standing in the bed. Just
Oh.
standing in the bed.
Oh wow.
Fire is bad,
Are we
guys.
allowed to be showing this?
There's a lot of violence going on in the scene, guys.
We need to one of those technical difficulty signs.
Excuse
I
me,
think
Klaus.
so.
That's my future friendship husband that's slapping you. How dare?
Future
you-
friendship husband? That sounds like something straight out of My Little Pony.
Your friendship husband, waifu?
My friendship waifu is slapping you.
Yeah, let's get a better view of that, huh?
I'm
This is
uncomfortable
the
here.
angriest
This is a new
sex
segment on the
position
show,
ever.
right?
This sets a worrisome precedent.
Like we were talking about in chat that Paul likes BDSM, but I didn't think he'd whip it out right here now.
I know. I mean, I'm slightly uncomfortable. You know, what? He didn't even tell me what the safe word is.
No, he's like, damn.
Don't
Look
look
at
out
that.
there.
I don't even think he's giving you the opportunity to figure out any safe words here.
All right. So I know dictionary attacks are usually limited to code breaking, but I think this could work here.
Like, actually
Aardvark.
take the dictionary and just whack him on the head with it.
Oh, that also works.
I like that as a
Oh.
dictionary attack. I'm sorry, Sarah. You were saying.
It looks like it was Aardvark.
I don't even remember now. Thank you, Paul. Oh yeah,
and it resumes.
yeah. So I mean, a lot of people just full on panic mode in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a difficult fight. The mechanics are interesting and fun, I thought. They do take some time to learn, but like I said, once you get them down, it's not bad.
Yeah. I did my run of it mostly blind, like
Mm-hmm.
with people who knew some of what to do but weren't going to go saying how to do every single bit of it. And most of the mechanics I was able to pick up, okay, that bit works like that, with maybe one or two wipes.
So the only thing I'll say to that is there's sometimes when I go in there, like into a trial roulette or whatnot, I get Nidhogg. There are people that think that after a certain phase you have to do something special to not wipe. You don't. You just have to not be slow with DPS.
Yeah, there's a DPS check, but once that's taken care of, I don't think there are any further instant wipe mechanics.
Not instant wipe, but I mean, there's a lot of heavy damage dealing mechanics that do go out.
Oh yeah,
So
healers, you will need to be able to keep up.
exactly.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
it's a good fight. Like I said, we brought Sarah through it the other night, and we let him experience the mechanics. And then once he went through and saw it, we told him about what needs to be done in this aspect, and we got it in less than half an hour. So
Yeah, it was like a 3-shot, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
it-
I
it
want to
wasn't-
say it's about 3.
It was, I think, about 4 tries in total.
Mhm.
But each time we did make fairly steady progress. It wasn't something where it's like, okay, having the same issues over and over. Once our group did identify an issue, it wasn't that hard to fix it.
Okay, Paul, do you feel better now yelling at me in game? Have we taken care of this yet? Are we good?
Can we kumbaya?
All right. That has been this week's edition of Beating Up Klaus.
Wait, that's a regular feature now? Dibs.
It's now
So Sarah's
retired.
next week, and then I'm after him.
All right. So, any of you guys jumped into the extreme version of that yet?
Not the X, no, but I've heard a lot about it though.
It is pretty gruesome. I spent about 30 minutes in there working with a new group, and if your DPS is not there, you are not going to get very far. That DPS check in the X version is no joke.
Yeah, I was going to take a shot at the Stone Sky Sea dummies before I tried queuing up for it myself.
If you can beat the A8S dummy, you've got enough DPS for Nidhogg X. But like I said, it's definitely it uses similar mechanics, but it also adds a few new things. So I mean, once you get to that point, you're probably not gonna want to go in blind. You're gonna want to have some knowledge of the fight going into these groups, so you can at least be productive and make sure that your DPS is on par to not hold everybody else back. So
Going in semi-blind is fine for story stuff, but if you start doing that optional post-game content, be considerate.
Yep, I would consider the extreme level stuff to be raid tier in its difficulty. So you want to use raid basically raid sensibilities when going into it.
Yeah, I think the extreme version assumes basic knowledge of the normal encounter, though.
Mm-hmm.
And not too much more than that, just raid awareness.
Yep. All right. So we won't go too much in depth on that because, like I said, nobody in this group has beat it yet. But like I said, if you haven't taken a chance at it, get through the storyline first, and then go look up the mechanics for it, get a basic understanding of it, and give it a try.
We'll have to talk a little bit more about the story once a sufficient moratorium of time has passed.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, we will.
And we talked about one of the dungeons already. Let's go ahead and talk about the other one that you get in a side quest, Hullbreaker Hard. I didn't care much for the story behind it.
That's because you're wrong. I
liked it,
but I liked the dungeon itself.
The characters that show up, Luna was there. She could definitely attest to it. I was pleasantly shocked and surprised by the first boss. And then after that, I was pretty much predicting what was going to happen next and just getting more and more excited. Especially if you do have a special place in your heart for Lim Salominsa and the goings on there. There's going to be a lot of really fun stuff for you.
It was adorable how he was reacting. He'd be like, "Oh, look, it's you! Oh my goodness, look, it's these things!"
Yes, that was pretty. That was funny. Well, Sarah gets a lorgasm, so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Lim Salominsa has the best tsundere in the game. It's great.
Oh, Sarah.
Oh, wait, tsundere. It's tsundere.
Tsundere.
But I mean, the dungeon mechanics themselves were fine. It was fun, but like I said, I wasn't as big a fan of the story on that one versus Sorkai.
I don't think there was anything that particularly stood out mechanic-wise.
I did like that first boss. That's a lot of AoE.
Oh yeah, that was just a kind of crazy scene in general.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that.
And then,
if you're looking for the definition of AoE hell, that would be AoE hell.
Yep. And then
I think there actually is a move. One of them did use a move called Bullet Hell.
And then the second boss is kind of a throwback to another Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Should be pretty obvious once you get there.
Yep. And then the third boss was. Can we spoil one thing? Or should we not?
No. I wouldn't. Just because
I was gonna say who we're not fighting.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I was. Well,
okay.
No, let him be surprised because I actually thought that I know what you mean, and I actually thought that was a distinct possibility.
Yep.
And it might be a possibility later on.
I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so.
I think it will be eventually.
Well, you're not fighting Raubon, that's for sure.
We already got to fight Raubon.
Yeah, you don't get a rematch against him. Besides, he's not Maelstrom. All right, so
good times.
Weeping City. That was an experience.
Oh my god. I have so many opinions on Weeping City, you don't even know.
Well, let's hear them. Go ahead and start, Luna.
So I see a lot of people in the community poking fun at it, saying it's the Wiping City, it's the Weeping City of Salt. And
I mean, it is in the Saltmore.
So, and we did wipe a lot on it, so.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think of it from a new player experience, someone who hasn't experienced it yet. They're probably being discouraged seeing that. And guys, I want to be the first person to say it here. It is not that bad. What makes it hard is working with 23 other people in your alliance. That's what makes it difficult. But the mechanics in the game are not hard.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. And on behalf of all the Final Fantasy 14 community, I am sorry if you had a bad experience in there from branching off of other people's actions or lack of actions. Please don't take it.
My understanding is you cannot face roll this. Like a lot of the reports I've heard have been like people just blindly DPSing and ignoring mechanics.
No,
Don't do that.
You can't do that. No.
No, you can't. And something about this patch, you can't be lazy when doing the content, and that's something that Final Fantasy needs right now.
Yep.
We need that so freaking badly. Yep. It's stepping up our game. It's making us better players. So if the content seems hard, don't say it as, please nerf this Yoshi P. Say it as, this is my challenge. This is time for me to build up how good of a player I am, to step up my game, to gain that experience and learn more about the game that I am playing.
It is, please, sir, may I have another?
You could always have your free company make up like 2/3 of the alliance or something.
Yep.
Exactly. You can get your friends and hop on a voice program and chat with them and have fun with it, because in the end, it is a game.
And that way, when someone does something silly that wipes the whole group, you can at least laugh a little more about it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And point them out and say, you're bad, ha ha ha. All
right, Klaus, more friendship lessons.
Yeah.
Moogle Quest
watch My Little Pony
has a really good point. Go pre-made as much as possible. It will reduce your amount of miserableness on there. I will agree with that. You at least want to go in a full pre-made party, if at all possible. And if you can get a couple other parties to try and queue at the same time to increase your likelihood of partying together, by all means.
Can't you queue as a partial alliance?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can?
They had to be 2 full parties, though.
Well, if you can get 16 people.
That's what Party Finder's for.
Yep. But with that being said, I am going to agree with Luna. I am so glad that we have difficult content.
This is the best thing that's happened to 14 in a long time.
We need this.
Yes. We absolutely do freaking need this. And I know there's going to be people out there being like, oh, this is too hard. Why'd they do this? They did it so we can grow as players.
Yes.
They didn't do it in spite of you. Like, stop thinking that SE is just out to get you all the time. They want to help you grow and grow with their game. I mean, look what Idleshire has become. Grow like Idleshire.
Yep. Don't stagnate and die.
And it's going to become easier as time goes on, as more people get used to it and as the people get geared up. Like,
yes,
it's always difficult the first few. This isn't something new.
Yep. It's like I was talking a little bit with you, Sarah, the other day, trying to find that specific word for it. And they're trying to condition us so we understand these mechanics, because if they're using these mechanics now, they're going to use them later on in the game on different things.
That was something I noticed. In Sorkai and in Hullbreaker Hard, there were some mechanics that's like, we have seen this mechanic before in a different way. They're putting a new spin on it, but like this is when you do learn a mechanic once, it does have a tendency to show up in other content.
Exactly. So get used to it, because it's not going away.
The only other thing that I really have to add is that, okay, people, this content, I'm going to even go on a limb and say it's just not even hard. It's just the fact that the learning curve is very, very high compared to anything else that we've ever seen.
It's not even that, really. It's different from what we've seen. The things that we saw with the boss fight, Ozma, wonderful fight. Loved that fight. Best fight in there. We spent almost an hour and a half there.
Yep.
An hour, 20 minutes there when we
on Ozma alone.
Yep. And I loved it. It was hilarious. It was so much fun. Our group got the mechanics real fast. But it's not just our group that needs to be doing it. It was when other groups are having issues, the mechanics then spread over to the other groups, and that's what ends up causing issues. So you can't necessarily carry. You need to be responsible for yourself to make sure that you're doing what needs to be done so everybody can succeed.
And if things are going wrong, or if you're getting to that last bit of the fight where stuff starts getting really intense, take a deep breath, do it by the numbers, don't panic, just like you know how to do this.
Yeah.
You know more of what you're doing than what you think you do. So just take a deep breath and go through it as you know. Don't panic about, oh, we have to get it. Oh, panic. That's when stuff starts going crazy.
Because the main difference between this type of content and Savage Raid content is there is no hard enrage on this content. Wiping City does not have an enrage timer on its boss fights. So you take the time, do the mechanics, and then make sure you're surviving, and then do your DPS, because a dead DPS does 0 DPS.
Exactly.
Not going to kill you if you have to take a moment longer.
Nope, because it actually could save your life.
If you have somewhere to be that desperately, you shouldn't even be doing this. Just breathe.
Yep. But no, I strongly encourage everybody to go in there, watch the fights, learn the mechanics, and have fun with it. Because once you realize what you're doing and how you're doing it, it is a blast. Mm-hmm. It is a gorgeous zone. The aesthetics of it are just phenomenal, and it's got a great story. Another great story.
It really does. It's a great story. It's a great addition to the Void Arc Weeping City. However many they're going to do on it.
There's going to be a third one now.
They're calling it Shadow of Mock, by the way.
The Shadow.
Yep.
The what of Mock?
The Shadow.
The
Shadow of Mock. Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful fight. It's beautiful forever in there. And kind of think of it this way. If you can get it down, that's you plus 23 other people all working together like a freaking, well, maybe not like a perfectly running clock, but a clock that gets by eventually.
It's a pretty well-oiled machine at that point. When you and 23 others can work together to a common goal. Now, like I said, this is what we should have had with 24-man content from the beginning, really, if you ask me. This type of difficulty should have started all the way back in Labyrinth of the Ancients.
It takes some adjustment to figure out about the level they want it.
That's true, but like I said, I mean, this is what we really needed and wanted, though, in this type of content. We wanted something that was more, I think was more difficult than your standard dungeons, but less difficult than the endgame rating.
This is the best kick in the ass that we could get right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to mind having to go and do this every single week.
Yep.
Exactly. Me neither.
It's not going to be boring.
Yeah, and for the first few weeks, you're going to want to do it with friends in at least one party to make sure that you can you can trust the people you're with. Because I mean, at least you can control that part of it. You can't control everybody else. But if you can get into a full alliance, awesome. You are going to just breeze through it if you understand the content.
Plus, you're going to have a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep. And if you can get into a voice chat, oh, it's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Be nice. They're trying to.
I know.
Basically,
that's
TLDR.
the other thing. Please be considerate of everybody in there. Like, not everybody knows everything. If there are some mishaps, screw-ups, whatever, try and work through them as a group. Nothing is insurmountable in there. You can definitely work through it. And the more that you try and work through it with those kinds of people, provided you don't get trolls. I mean, there are some bad apples. It's just how it works. But if you can't get through it, everybody turns out better, and then the entire community turns out better, and we can just all do it easier.
Yep, everybody needs to work together on it.
I would say, like, one of the things I see most commonly is people confusing this person doesn't know how to do this thing with this person should have known how to do it. And that's what seems to get a lot of the most angry reactions when there's people feel like, oh, well, you should have known how to do it. And like, well, you should have watched these type things. And you should have done all this before you ever entered. And the most vitriolic stuff comes from people who are saying, well, you should have known. Like, that kind of thinking just gets so unkind.
With those kind of people, if they say you should have known that, and I just go, you know what? I don't. So now what? What are you gonna do?
Now there are some cases where, let's say you're spending like 30 minutes wiping to the same mechanics over and over again, and you've tried to explain to the person that you need to do this. In that case, then I would say that you're probably well within your rights to go ahead and ask that person to leave or remove them from the party.
I mean, if they're not picking it up when it's happening to them and people are explaining and they have the opportunity to watch, sure. But I've seen that where it's like the very first time through a particular thing that there are people who are mixing it up and they're being told that they should have known it in advance.
Yeah, that's a problem. But if like I said, if it's your first time in there and you're expected to know that, that's bullshit. But if you get in there and you see it a couple of times and you've been told what needs to be done after you've wiped to it a few times and you're still not getting it, you either maybe just don't understand it or I don't know. But I mean, at that point, you're just holding everybody back, and maybe you need to figure out a different way to practice it.
I wish people felt a little bit safer asking questions. I don't know if that's even necessarily something that's just specific to this game, but in a lot of settings, people feel like, oh, I can't ask, that's just going to make me look stupid, that's going to make people upset at me. And some people are massive assholes when others do ask what's going on. They start doing the whole assumption of, oh, they're not going to know, they're going to hold us all back. They just act like really terrible people who discourage anyone from ever asking what's up. Don't be that person.
If you're ever in a group,
it's like a total self-fulfilling prophecy right there.
I was gonna say, if you're ever in a group with one of us and you ask a question, we're gonna do our best to answer it for you. We're not gonna say, ha ha, you should know that. Get good, scrub. Unless we know you.
I will give you a half-page like thingy about, okay, so this thing because of that, and that bit's kind of invoking this, so you want to do that for that.
And then you're gonna tell him to shut up.
This is a reference to the Minotaur's Labyrinth at Theseus.
And you're gonna get your whole own lore segment by Sarah.
Okay, so basically, if you ask me, Klaus or Seo how to do things, we'll kindly explain it to you. If you ask Sarah, you're gonna get a fucking book.
You're gonna get a dissertation.
But you will know how to do it at the end, damn it.
But you're
and
gonna run
fun facts along with it
the next time because you're gonna run out of time with his explanation.
I'll keep it short next time.
You know, actually, that's one thing that I struggle with is even when people ask me how to do something, I struggle with exactly how much of an answer to give them.
It's tough sometimes
because I don't know what they need at that given moment. Like, okay, move out of this, or move out of this because this will happen.
Yeah,
you know?
It's kind of hard. I know for myself, if I have some understanding of like the motive, like some people, they just want to know, okay, what is it to do? I know for myself, if I know a little bit about why, it makes it a little easier to actually keep it in my head, which when you're trying to juggle a bunch of mechanics, any mnemonic you can have there is going to really help you out. So it can be a little bit of a struggle to figure out just what level of detail to give there.
So anyway, the TLDR on Weeping City is it's a little more difficult than what we're maybe used to on that, but it's a good thing that we have it. Go do it. It's fun.
Give it a go. Don't stress if you end up having trouble with it. Whatever.
All right. How about those side quests, guys?
Oh my god.
Which one do I want to start with? Let's start with the tour.
That made me so happy.
Oh
yeah.
There's a quest. Once you finish the main storyline, there's just a regular quest that's going to pop up within House Four Temps. Don't forget to grab it.
House Fortom? God.
You're saying is that I should have known that.
They say it so many times, boys!
I use the Japanese voice. Thank you very much.
House for Tempu?
For
Tempura? Can we get tempura?
House Tempura? Okay. So it starts in House Tempura.
Let's go to the Tempura house. That's probably a thing.
Yeah, we're going to the Tempura house.
Anyways.
Grab that quest, and you're basically going to go on a magical mystery tour. It's amazing. It's a lot of traveling, but it's a lot of reminiscing.
It is worth it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You will get a special reward at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Not even in the patch notes. It's just extra.
Yep. Like I said, just do it. Yoshi does talk about it slightly in the interview, but like I said, he doesn't go into any details. We're not going to go into any details. Just fucking do it.
Experience it for yourself.
Yes.
Set aside a little bit of time just to enjoy it.
It's about an hour, I would say. About an hour.
Hour and a half, hour. About that time.
Depending how fast you read, but like I said, there's a lot of traveling. I think there's a total of 4 quests in it.
5, I think.
5? Okay.
Something in that. It's split into a number of sub-quests to sort of like give you periodic rewards and keep it going. Gives you a natural break point as well, if you do need to take a break for a short bit.
Mato, it starts in House Fortin.
There we go.
I didn't want to have Sarah yell at me again because I should have known it. So once you finish your main storyline quest, it's given by the butler in the background.
The steward, yeah.
The steward, yes. The guy
It's
in the back
literally right
corner.
there. You cannot miss it.
House for Tomps, as Moogle Quest wrote it out.
About right.
Okay. Hildy. Oh my God, Hildy.
I love it. I want more.
Oh my God, Hildy.
Okay. Listen. I'm not saying it was bad. Okay, get that off. The first section here. Like
She's
it was
saying
not
it's bad. Kill her.
No, shut up. Shut up, Sarah. It was not bad, but how they're doing it through 3.x just kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. It's not we're not getting the same type of Hildebrand quest that we had in the 2.x series.
No.
But we're getting an entertaining storyline.
Yes, it is very entertaining, but it's the delivery that's bugging me.
Yeah, I would like to see some funny, quirky, enjoyable battle content like we had with Greg, with Uncle Alti, with Z Poof Poof, all that, fun stuff,
And I'm sure we'll eventually get it. But it's just that now that we have it every single patch, it seems less special,
We had 3 trials. We had 3 trials with Hildebrand, didn't we? Battle on the Big Bridge, Dragon's Neck, and Battle in the Big Keep.
It does kind of feel like there's a balance to be struck. If it's too infrequent, then people start getting antsy for it. But if you're dribbling it out in little bits, you only get little dribbles at a time.
You have a problem with little dribbles?
I need more. Give me more.
Anyway, but the story...
Yeah, I've got nothing. I'm sorry.
The story itself is hilarious. It's not long. You'll be done in about half an hour or so, but do enjoy it. Go do it. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil it, but oh my God is all I have to say.
I actually saved up my the Hildebrand quest from the last one just because I know it was only like 1 or 2 quests. I saved it up so I could do those ones and these ones in one sequence and feel like I got a little bit of a bigger dose.
All right, what else do we have to talk about here? We've got
the very best thing in this patch, in my opinion.
The Moogle Dailies?
You know what? Well, no, they're actually pretty damn good too, but not the best thing.
Let's talk
about
the Moogle Dailies.
Let's talk about the Moogle Dailies.
I feel like they're doing a pretty decent job of starting to redeem them. Like they are poking a lot of fun at a lot of the criticisms that people had of Moogles.
They are.
You get to do some fairly entertaining things to the Moogles, and I think are going to serve as nice stress release for a lot of people.
It's just what we needed, and
the XP is phenomenal.
I know. I thought it was going to be dinky little things like the rest of freaking 50 to 60 content, but no, they give you a sizable chunk.
At the point I'm at right now, I'm getting almost a 250,000 XP per quest.
It's so nice.
One thing I'll mention for those
lovely.
of you who remember and were slightly worried about stuff from the Ixal dailies, you do not need to have special equipment in order to synth the things that Moogles require.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was a pain.
It was. Had to have a separate set just to do them. Though, I will say this, just like the other Beast Tribe quest, you have to accept the quest on the job that you're going to be getting the experience on.
Actually, no.
Yes, you do.
I actually accepted everything on Blacksmith, but then I switched to Armorer for the turn-in. It actually does have the special symbol, and the journal indicates 4 quests that require a particular required one, and those ones don't.
See, I tried to do it. I accepted on my Goldsmith and tried to turn it in on my Weaver, and it wouldn't let me.
What level is your Weaver?
It's 50. They're all above 50.
Okay. But no, it allowed me to do it with armor.
I could not. I had to turn it in as the goldsmith that I accepted it on because I forgot to switch.
Strange.
So
I'll check into that.
I don't know
I didn't have any
if
issues.
Sarah had the bug or if I had the bug, but do be aware of that. I think you have to do it from the job that you're, unless they change something on it. But
Tomorrow morning, I am doing it for science.
for science.
But they are a lot nicer, and it does bring back the mechanic we've seen before of the hey, as you make these changes, it does make improvements. We saw that with the Ixal, so
Yep. It's like I said, and it goes fast. It goes really fast. I mean, we're already rank 3. Luna's going to be 4 tomorrow.
Yep.
Do they
That's
restrict your abilities or CPU like they did with the XLs?
Not
a
so
lot?
No.
far.
No. Nope.
none of that.
That's good. That was
It's
annoying.
a lot of fun though. It's so much fun though. I really like these quests. And the
Yes.
freaking mount.
I'm not
Is
sure
that
how I
proof
feel about the
of-
mount.
Can we talk about how lewd the mount is?
That's why I'm not so sure about the mount. I don't like how I'm riding that mount. It looks like
I've
I'm doing
seen-
something really lewd to that mount.
I've seen so many screenshots on Twitter and Tumblr of people in subligars riding the puff.
Doing
Oh,
doing
best thing
inappropriate
ever.
things
You
to
know,
it.
Best thing ever.
That was filled with childlike innocence.
Not
Now it's
anymore.
filled with a cream filling.
Now it's filled with subligars. And
Now I
cream
can't be
filling.
cute and whimsical anymore. God damn it, internet! Why'd you ruin everything?
Because it's the internet and that's what it's there for.
Because
Oh,
Rule
right.
34.
The internet is
Rule
really, really
34.
great for porn.
Porn.
So yeah,
Google
if you
will
have
are exist,
uh,
doesn't it?
if you have crafters that are level 50 plus, I do suggest using this as an option to level those up because it is fast, it is fun, and it's easy to do.
Fast, fun, and free.
Yeah. Now,
So
which
cute.
one were you going to talk about, Luna?
The very last thing on the list.
Well, we've got one more side quest yet.
We have another side quest. Did I not do this one?
The Warring
Oh
Triad.
wait, no, I did do this one.
Oh,
This
yeah,
one I
yeah.
always fucking forget I did.
The Warring Triad.
Yeah.
There's not much we can say without spoiling stuff.
No, but I
No.
mean, do it. It's just one battle scene, and then
Soloable.
it is a solo instance. But go do it. You learn so much about what's going on. It actually gives you more information than you did when we had, the Sephiroth battle.
It's definitely filling in a lot of those questions that we still have. There's some really interesting stuff that it hints at.
So yes, it's a really easy quest. Just go to the Rising Stones and talk with Ulukalhai. Urukalhai.
Hey.
Hey ho.
Hey.
And then go do that. So it's really interesting. Highly recommend.
Yeah, so I just did that maybe an hour or two ago. Let me just say that the music that plays during that trial question mark,
Yeah.
that's
Duty.
really freaking awesome. I like that remix.
I kind of wish I could run it again.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've seen a lot of other people say as well. Because I mean, I would love to be able to go back and do that battle with Raubon again.
Oh god, that would be
I would
so
love to be
much
able to go
fun.
do this battle again. There's a lot of those single instances that are one-time fights that we should be able to go back and do.
Minstrel's Ballads for all.
Not even Minstrel's Ballad version. Just let us go back and replay them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, story-wise, the way you're going to justify it is by having the minstrel do another ballad.
But he's going to make it more difficult.
Yeah, that's what he does.
That's fine. Just put some appropriately eye-leveled things in there. Let me take 7 buddies in, and then we're all good.
Well, then it wouldn't be... See, I want to do it solo again like we did.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something you could do, and maybe put just a small tome reward on it or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Something for... Because,
Solo daily dungeon, new roulette.
well, it's not necessarily roulette, but I mean, I suppose you could roulette and just pick a random one. But there are people who don't necessarily want to get their XP, and have to spam dungeons to do so. Let them do some of this type of stuff.
Hashtag what?
Are you looking at Moogle Quest there? Raubon Extreme, he has both arms. No, Robot Extreme is gonna have 4 arms.
He's not
Well,
Sephiroth.
I was thinking Greg, but
Mato,
No.
that's a good question. The great thing about the sun mount minion is it disappears when you turn off your HUD. It's designed to give you a light effect and disappear so you can take screenshots. So that's why we use that. And,
Behind the scenes with Phoenix Down Radio.
the more you know.
it gives you lighting. Back before they had the feature that let you turn your head to face a particular way, it gave you something to lock onto.
Yep, that's what we use it for. So
yeah.
because we want to have it as a live stream. We're not using G-Pose, so people who come in, as you saw, you're seeing what's going on in the game. So we want it to be an interactive and open experience. So if people are on Hyperion and want to come down and hang with us and be silly and do stuff, you guys can do that. It makes this portion of it, the people who are watching it live, the people who go out and watch it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, it gives them something else to watch other than listening to us drone on about Final Fantasy. So,
and occasionally some random psychotic person shows up and starts slapping Klaus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Pretty much. Only Klaus. It's never any of us. I don't know why it's always Klaus.
He knows why.
Because I'm awesome
kinda
and
got
they're
a-
jealous.
Yeah, we all. So we all have to slap the awesome out of him. Okay,
He's
got
kind
it.
of got a slappable face. Like I look at it, I think like that would feel good to slap.
How do you think he has no eyebrows?
They slapped the eyebrows off my face, yes. Now you know. That's what happened to all the Highlanders.
Klaus's secret origin story.
All right, so that kind of gave us a little bit off a track, but I think we were just kind of finishing up with what we were talking about there. But I think that would be cool. I mean, because like I said, some people don't necessarily always want to have to be with other people to do leveling content. You know, give them something small and like replay some of those scenes.
Mhm.
I think it'd be an interesting idea.
Warrior of Light's greatest hits.
Hashtag WoW did it, and hashtag WoW did it well with the solar flare scenarios. So let's see it over here, Essie.
Now,
They are fun.
we don't have the new front lines on there because I don't think anybody of us has done it yet, have we?
Not yet, no.
I
Not
haven't.
yet.
If you have front lines unlocked, it unlocks automatically, so you should be able to just go ahead and jump in there if you want to. I will eventually do it. I do want to try it, but I haven't had time to yet because there's just so much other stuff to do. But we're going to talk about Luna's favorite thing now.
Yee.
What is that?
Possibly mine too.
Yee.
I know it's Chili's favorite, or at least Chili's the best at it, or the luckiest.
I'm looking forward to trying it.
And we will be trying it with everybody. We'll do streaming of it. What is it, Luna?
Yay!
Aquapolis.
Thank you, Bobo Wattos.
Aquapolis.
The Aquapolis.
That joke's never going to get old, is it?
No,
Nope.
it's never. And we're gonna be like a year away from now, and we're gonna be like Aquapolis. Aquapolis.
Aquapolis.
Welcome,
I can't
everybody,
do the Blobbo
to
Walters.
the Aquapolis.
Live from the Aquapolis.
I'm Bobo Wattos.
Oh.
Yes. So, the Aquapolis is a thing. And it is awesome. It really is.
Oh
It
my
is-
god! It
As
is-
expected, people have already created so little mini cults and religious sects around it.
Oh my god. Do we want to get into this part of it on here? I mean, do we have the
I feel
time?
that's kind of spoilerish.
Yes.
The
You're right.
short version is there's a luck and random element involved, and that means people are trying to find whatever pattern they can and worshiping various deities around it. I mean, it pretty much always happens. I just didn't expect it to this degree.
And we're
this
trying to
fast.
find the right sacrificial blood yet.
Well,
so
we had Skybear, and look at the cult Skybear got so fast. So, come on. But we do have to talk about it. Chili mentioned it in chat, so we can talk about it now.
Rainbow Jesus,
Rainbow
our
RNG
Lord and
Jesus.
Savior.
Rainbow RNG Jesus. I'm not going to tell you how he comes into play, but Rainbow RNG Jesus is a thing. When you see Rainbow RNG Jesus, you will know that you've been touched by the hand of his mighty rainbow appendage.
It's more like been slapped. But
Yeah, but you've been slapped by his mighty rainbow appendage. And,
Were we inappropriately touched by Rainbow RNG?
No.
Oh yeah.
Slap.
No,
Definitely.
you had it. You had a joygasm from it.
Slap. Possibly asphyxiated.
You had okay. This is what it is. You have the most enjoyable slapping session of your life. When
Yeah.
Rainbow RNG happened.
Yes, it is a wonderful thing when Rainbow RNG has reached down and slapped you in the face.
I don't think I want to go to the Aquapolis anymore.
Yes, ma'am. May I please have another? You will be saying.
Hey, after we do the show, can we drag Sarah kicking and screaming into the Aquapolis?
Maybe.
I have a few
Okay.
maps.
I have lots of maps. It's gonna have to wait actually a while because the stream is gonna be going for a bit yet.
Plus, we got to go get our cat pot.
Exactly.
Someone save me.
No,
Sarah, you're gonna love it. Trust me,
you're gonna love it,
you are.
and no one say anything when we do it.
All right. So, like I said, all RNG based. There's up to 7 rooms you can get into. People have gotten through 7 rooms, and the loot is phenomenal from what we're hearing. So, if you have dragon skin maps, get a group of at least 4 people together because it works really well with 4. And go through those. You got a 50% chance of getting one to pop on your chest. You do the chest as normal. You beat the mobs. And once you pop it at the end, you got a 50-50 shot of getting that portal to show up. So it is fabulous. So highly recommend. Great content. So now we just need to look forward to Deep Dungeon when that comes in about a month and a half. And yeah, we've got a lot to do.
Best patch of Heavensward?
Yes.
It's a very
So
good
far.
one. It's a very good one. I'll say that. Enjoying.
How many more?
Go ahead.
I wonder how many more we can expect. Because I mean, the Warring Triad. Assuming that doesn't continue into 4.0, we still have 2 of them left to fight.
Though those are going to be side quests. They're not going to be attached to the main quest. That Yoshi's confirmed that in those interviews.
Sure, but I mean, even then, if it's let's say have that continuing on into 4.0, we're going to need to have the other 2 reasonably soon.
Well, I would
How
say
many
we're probably
patches
going to
do we
have. I mean, I would say we've got 2 left. We got 4.4 and 3.4 and 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so,
I mean,
so we'll get the other 2 on schedule.
It's possible that we could get Refka in 4.0. Because we all know that Regulus Van Hydra is going to turn into a Kefka analog at the end of this, right? And he could drag that off into Garlemald, and we could end up having to follow him and fight him that way. Just an idea.
Spoilers.
But so yeah, I mean that's just a possible idea of what could happen. But we will fight the demon and the goddess. That's basically confirmed. So yeah, that was 3.3 in a nutshell.
Very good stuff.
Yep,
coming from this patch.
And like I said, I don't think we spoiled that for anybody. We may start talking spoilers next week. We'll decide yet. Not next week, next show. But if you guys liked what you heard and you're new to us and you have not yet done so, follow us. Hit the little button at the bottom. You can follow us on Twitter at PHXDN Radio. Also, like I said, we will have a lot of the show notes that we talk about on our website, www.phoenixdownradio.com. So, the other thing that we got with this patch that we purposely left out is because we're going to be talking about it right now. We in a new segment called How Do I? And how do I do the Anima weapon? We got an upgrade in this patch going to 240. So, we're going to give you a TLDR on how to get up to it.
And they also simplified some of the earlier steps too.
They did make the drop rate on the crystals for this first part we're going to talk about. Go ahead, take it away, Seo.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most everybody knows by now the Anima weapon is pretty much our growing weapon of the Heavensward Saga.
Yep, it's our relic weapon for this particular patch for this expansion. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not actually sure what the actual name of the quest is, but you get a quest from Rowena in Idleshire. She's at X5Y3. Like I said, it's the only quest that she has. You're going to get a few cookie crumbs that eventually take you to Mordona. And it's at this point where you can actually trade in your Zenith if you wanted to just skip the step, or you could just do the step now if you don't really feel like trading it in, or you didn't do it. Because from what I'm hearing, it's not too bad anymore. This first step, it gets you a 170 weapon, And basically what you're going to be doing, it's very similar to the Atma farming from the Zodiac Weapon Quest level. I think you got level 100 from that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep, that was the one that so much of the hey, I've done Fates in this zone for 5 hours, and then one of your friends comes in and gets it on the third one, and you have to murder them.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of plenty of that with these two. So basically, you have 18 different crystals to get. You're going to be in each of the Heavensward zones, and you get 3 of them per zone. So like after you get a quote unquote Atma from one fate in the zone, you're going to stay there for 2 more. But the 6 zones obviously are Korith's Western, Dravanian Forelands, Dravanian Hinterlands, the Churning Mist, Sea of Clouds, and Azathoth. And then you're going to turn in all of those crystals after you're done, and then you get the 170 weapon. Not too bad. Just wanted to make a little note that you can actually, once you have the quest open and you're at the part where you can, where you're told to fate grind, you can actually switch to another job, and you can get XP on that job while you're working toward your animal weapon. So that's one really good thing about that. That's different from the Optim portion of the Zodiac quest.
Yeah, it's not terribly difficult. It's more just the usual little bit of an endurance grind fest kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How long can you go before you snap?
Oh god, I hope it's not that bad anymore. Personally, I've never actually done this part. I had a Black Mage Zenith ready to go when it came out, and I've just never looked back. So
there was a guy in our FC today that was doing it, I guess, and I guess he said it went super fast for him. Like, he got the crystals right away, and he was on to the next zone.
It's generally been one of the things as for these relic quests that not immediately, usually the one that's like 2 steps back, they'll go ahead and start making it a bit easier, just so you don't end up in the situation where you feel like you can never catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So now you get to say, back in my day, before they nerfed it.
We did this the real way.
Well, that's kind of how we felt when the Atma step was nerfed.
I mean, I didn't really care at that point when they nerfed it, because at that point, Skage and Riss and Marth were all joining, and I'm like, you know what? Fine. Because, you wanted people to get up and do content faster.
Yeah, It is not that big a deal. You did get something out of it. You got to have the awesome relic for a long period when others didn't.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fact that they do nerf it is actually a good thing, because you don't want it to be something that people just say, oh, this is going to take too long, I'm not even going to bother. You want to be able to at least get it within a relatively decent amount of time when they get there. You know, it's not something that you just basically, you get to 50 or 60, it's like, here you go, here's your stuff. You want them to work for just a little bit, but maybe not necessarily as hard as everybody else's. You know, make it difficult to start with, but then as time goes on, ease the restrictions. The next step, though, I liked that step, taking it from 170 to 200.
Yeah, the next step is great. It's definitely, I think when it came out, when they had this step, I think this was like, okay, you've made it past the hard part, go have some fun, right? So the next part is you're going to continue the quest line, and they're basically going to have you go into various dungeons with your newly 170 relic, and just do the dungeons so you can quote unquote awaken the memories of your past experiences, because you're apparently trying to give this weapon some actual life, a soul, Yeah.
For the lore notes, the entire point of this and the reason why Rowena was even involved is she's, if you made a relic weapon originally, she's heard about it. But either way, she's really intrigued by a lot of the theories with this and is thinking, if we can reliably make, maybe even mass produce these weapons, that is a really great new cash stream. Classic Rowena.
Yeah, Rowena, good luck finding the resources to mass produce this.
Well,
I don't-
the
I don't.
prototype is always more expensive.
Well, then she's got us. Give us
I mean,
enough
if-
tomes and we'll do anything, right?
If you can pay me, sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, the prototype is always a bit more expensive, and once you've got a proof of concept, then you start refining the process to make it cheaper.
It's just all about economies of scale, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
You just know that she's setting up a supply line to bring in cartloads of ether oil.
Or something like that.
Probably. Anything. So I just really wanted to go over this real quick. The dungeons in order are Snowcloak, Sastasha Hard, Tunken Temple of Card Hard, Keeper of the Lake, Wanderer's Palace Hard, Amdapur Keep Hard, Dusk Vigil, Some All, the Airy, and the Vault. Now those first 6 that are actually in A Realm Reborn, you can actually do those unsynced.
They go so fast.
In an undersized party, you can probably knock out the whole 6 of them in about 45 minutes to an hour collectively.
Or less if you've got good players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus, it is always just so satisfying to go through and absolutely wreck some things.
Oh, yeah.
And the other addendum to that I actually forgot to put in my notes was you only have to actually end the dungeon with a weapon on.
Yep.
So if you actually have something better than a 200 piece, you don't have to go through it with the 200, or I'm sorry, with the I-170 piece on. You can just do it right before you click the
exit.
portal to leave
Yep.
the place. Yeah.
Make sure it's equipped before you leave, otherwise you'll have to run it again.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Doesn't end well.
I've heard way too many people saying, "Oh God, I forgot to equip it."
I did that once and never again.
Yeah, and there's also sometimes there's cutscenes in between the patch breaks in the dungeons. So don't forget to do those before trying to queue for the next one, or else you'll have to do that one again too.
Yep, make sure you're on that dungeon.
But yeah, that's that, and you have your 200 weapons from that.
Getting to that
The-
point's not difficult. It was, maybe, like I said, slightly time consuming when you first did the crystals, but this next step, oh my god, people were raging on.
Oh yeah.
People were raging. I mean, I'm even a heavy grinder, and this took me about I don't know 3 weeks to a month to do.
Patience. So
So-
much patience.
All you need is just a little patience.
So to get it to 210, you're given a quest to obtain 4 items from Christiana in the House of Splendors in Mordona. These items are enchanted rubber. The enchanted rubber requires 20 unidentifiable bones. English, so.
We
And
can
for-
TLDR this a little bit more.
Okay.
So 4 items that you have to trade in a whole bunch of stuff to get. To get that whole bunch of stuff, you need to do a lot of other stuff in the game.
I am glad that they at least give you options between. Like, there's a lot of different things that you can do, but you don't have to do any one of them.
Yep. I mean, there's multiple ways of getting the items. You could do dungeons and buy them with tomes. You can run maps and get them as drops there. You could turn in Grand Company seals. You could turn in Allied seals.
Beast Tribe quests also, the tokens could be traded for them.
Exactly. So there's a multitude of ways of doing it. So you could do a little bit of all of it, or you could do what a lot of people did and they spammed Alex Gordius for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and days and days and days and days.
The vast majority of mine actually came from those Beast Tribe quests.
I bought a
Yeah.
lot of mine.
If you've got the rep built up beforehand, they are super efficient.
I mean, because if you do it, with Realm Reborn ones, you need, each one gave you the option of picking up one specific item with using 13 tokens items that you would get. So you could get 4 items every 2
5
weeks, was
days.
it? I thought it was every 2
It was
weeks.
It was 4 items every 5 days.
Every
I thought.
you're right, every 5 days, because you got 3 per day from each one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you need 13. Yep. So you turn those in, and then there's 4 specific crafted items that need to be made that at the time required specialist crafters, but now they removed that requirement. But it does require some specialized stuff from like Diadem and other places like that.
And not only that, each one was actually, so for instance, there was one that was a culinarian item, but one of the ingredients was a goldsmith specializing item. Yep. So all 8 crafts were covered between them.
Yes. So, I mean, it was a way for them that they did it to try and include all crafting classes, all gathering classes, and, make it so, if you didn't have it yourself, you could at least get somebody who did, have that and work with other people as well. So It wasn't, like I said, the idea behind it was pretty good, I thought, but I mean, there was just a lot of stuff. I mean, if they'd have cut it in half, I think it would have been better.
They seem to get the message up for that with the next stage, though.
Oh yeah, the next stage is the equivalent of a face roll.
Oh yeah. So the next one is real easy. It takes it all the way up to 230, and all it is 5 Aether Oils. Aether Oils can be gotten one of 2 ways. One of them is from the Gift of the Archmagus quest, which was the quest line that had you redo all of the 24-man content from ARR. So,
CT series.
The CT series. Labyrinth of the Ancients, Circus Tower, and World of Darkness. And the other way is to do just turn in 1,800 esoterics, and that will give you 1 out of the 5 that you need.
And I really appreciated that one just because if you wanted to grind it, you could. But if not, once a week, you can guaranteed be done with it within 5 weeks. And I mean, more realistically, 3 or 4 weeks, because you're going to gain some tomestones in the process of doing that. But it definitely felt like this is one that you can achieve at a reasonable speed, even if you're taking a little bit of a gentler route.
I think most people had it probably about 1.5 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, it took me about 3, but I was being a lot more calm and patient about it.
I believe Luna class and I 5 days.
Yeah, 5 days. Well, actually, mine was technically 4 days.
I think I actually did run.
Probably.
It took me actually technically 8 days because I think I went to. I don't think I ground out 4 of them on tomes. I think I got 2 of them.
You totally did because we got ours within.
You're right.
So Luna got hers first. You got yours, and then I got mine.
Yeah, I got mine. I got mine the day after Luna got hers. You're right. I got mine Friday. Luna got hers Thursday.
And then I got mine 15 minutes later.
One thing I'll note about that stage, the Ether Oil became available as a reward pretty much immediately. Like, you don't, even if you haven't gone to that stage of the Anima weapon quest line, you can still do the Crystal Tower weekly and get those Ether Oils.
Yep. So basically, if you're still working on your 210, do the Aether Oil quests, because by the time you get your 210 done, then you can turn it automatically into a 230.
Pretty much.
Now that brings us to the current stage. Now, a lot of people were saying they didn't do the relic quests because they didn't like the stats on their weapon. This is how you change it.
Yeah, you can actually fix it now. So the 241, you basically go to your contact that you've been seeing in Azisla for the majority of the relic quests, and TLDR, he sends you to an NPC called Ulan in Idleshire. She's at X6Y4,
where the script turn-in used to be.
And
I remember last patch there was actually an NPC musing about, I wonder what kind of shop they're going to put in here.
Yep.
And she basically gives you the opportunity to buy 1 out of the 2 items that you're going to need for this quest, which is called a Crystal Sand. The other item that you need for this quest is called an Umbrite. That's going to be 300 Essos from your friendly neighborhood Esso vendor.
Hismana.
So, of course, they've got the Esso grind in there.
Yep.
I suppose there's no escaping it.
Nope.
There isn't. And can I take a little bit to go off script here and say, Essie, why? You actually told us from the get-go that there were going to be multiple ways of doing this.
There's only one way to get these right now.
And there's only one way to get these.
That we're aware of.
Yeah, there's multiple ways for the other parts, but for this one, ugh.
Who knows? You know, is it possible it's in room 7?
Secret chest in the Aquapolis, 500 Umbrites. Technically, you only needed like 60 to 80, but what the hell? Make some extra animas. You deserve it.
Oh God!
You get an animus, and you get an anima, and you get an animus.
So basically, the combination of these two items gives you some amount of purified crystal sands. I will say the SC reported amount is anywhere from 3 to 5.
Player reported though,
but
nobody we've talked with has ever seen more than 3.
Empirical data suggests that no more than 3 exist at any given time.
Oh, I will say I only am 11 into it, so I've got 33 stat in mine. But like I said, 11, 33, I've only seen 3s.
So yeah, so each one of these purified crystal sands, which reportedly you can get up to 5, it's not true. It doesn't exist.
Well,
the cake is a lie.
Yet. Or we're just it's such a small percentage chance of happening that we haven't experienced it yet.
Maybe you have to get higher in level in order for it to like kick in.
That's the other thing I was thinking. Maybe you have to be about halfway through before it starts to kick in.
Maybe. But I'll get into why that may not matter in a bit. So you have to get all the way up to 240 points of allocated stats. Each crystal stand gives you 1. So that means the best case scenario, you would have 48 Umbrites and 48 crystal sands. The worst case scenario, you would have 80 Umbrites and 80 crystal sands.
Which would be about 24,000 esoteric tomestones.
Which that's about the same amount of tomes that it took to get books, wasn't it?
Something like that. Honestly, I've blocked out a lot of those memories.
Okay, how many did you say again? 48 or 24?
48. It's 48 to 80.
No, 80 times 3, that's 24,000.
80,
okay.
Yeah, 24,000.
Yeah, I think it was about 25,000 tomes back in for the books, wasn't it? Because wasn't each one like 15? No.
Yeah, back when they were mythology, oh god, they were expensive.
It was I remember that was an expensive thing, or maybe I'm trying to remember. I'm getting old, people. I'm getting old.
At the very least,
back
the amounts.
In my day.
The amounts seem like they're in line with previous ones, but previous ones were pretty grindy.
Yep. So you've got to get, at this point, from what we know, you have to buy the Umbrites with esotomes. But
that's not all.
But the crystal sands, they can be acquired in any number of interesting and magical ways, as we'll get into in a second here.
But not with directly bought with tomes. Directly. You can't spend tomes to directly get them. You can buy stuff with tomes to get an item that you can use to turn in to get those, but
this is the bit that has you doing other content.
Correct.
So you get you can do scripts. You can turn in 5 blue crafting script tokens or blue gathering script tokens to get 1 crystal sand.
I'm a little surprised that they actually made it directly, hey, crafter, if you're a crafter or gatherer, you can use that as a direct route to your anima. Yep. That's not the thing they usually do.
And it's actually not blue crafting scripts, it's the script...
it's the token.
Tokens. So it's 250 scripts.
That's not too hard to gather if you have decent nodes available.
The next item on this list is crafting mats. So basically, when they do each one of these categories, it's like everything on this portion of the list. So it's either 5 blue crafting script tokens, 5 blue gathering script tokens, and then this next part is a lump sum of 1 garland steel, 1 celestine, and 1 high elegant chimerical leather.
Yep, you have to have one of each of those items to get 1 crystal sand.
So that one guy in your FC who's been stockpiling all of the airship venture stuff, you should become their best friend.
Coley's going to get through his fast, isn't he?
Oh man, he has all the stuff, doesn't he? I thought I was storing some of it.
Well, I'm hoping that he doesn't just use them all for his own personal gain, but
he's a nice guy. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure
know.
he'd actually check
I
with
know.
people.
Yeah.
let's skip this next one and we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about this one last.
Tier 4 materia. You can get one of each of the 3, either the astral aligned ones or the umbral aligned ones. That would be 1 fire 4, 1 wind 4, and 1 lightning 4, or 1 ice 4, 1 earth 4, and 1 water 4.
Oh my god, elemental resistance materia have an actual use now.
Other than being turned in at Mutamix or sold to NPCs.
Pretty much. Like an actual thing that they specifically are for.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can give a damn about them.
Yep. So those are gonna go up in price now.
They
Oh
have.
yeah.
They're about 100K for any given one.
Wow. I think I'm just gonna sell mine then.
Yeah.
Don't forget,
they're-
you can take all of those lousy determination and spell speed and crit material you've been getting for your Beastman quest, and you can re-roll them for valuable elemental resistance materia.
Oh
Wait a minute,
boy.
What?
In related news, up is down, black is white, and hamburgers eat people.
Well.
What planet am I on right now?
Heidelin.
Oh, everything is backwards and it's amazing.
All right. So
Oh,
the next
man.
one, demi materia.
Yeah. So you need all of 3 Battlecraft 1, 2 Battlecraft 2, 3 Fieldcraft 1, and 2 Fieldcraft 2 demi materia to get 1 crystal sand.
That's 10
Which-
demi materia total.
Yeah. Pretty much the tier 1 and tier 2 had become almost worthless. People only cared about the tier 3, it seemed like.
Except
that
now,
seems to have brought them back into vogue, yeah.
they are all freaking expensive on the market board, and it's probably not worth doing this unless you're a decent horror.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to try to buy your way to it, it's going to be expensive. That's the way it works. But lots of those various side activities that people had been doing, desynthing, the various materia type stuff that you may have ended up with, hey, you can actually get something valuable out of it now.
This next one's kind of expensive as well, but if you're sitting on a ton of Grand Company seals or you want to get back into the Exile Beast quests, you can get 5 Moonstones for 1. Each Moonstone at your Grand Company is 4,000 seals. So 40,000 seals to get 10 of those to get 2 crystal sands.
Yep. And you do, those of you who have been doing your Ixal dailies, there is that one that gives you 1 free Moonstone a day.
So
I think they
one every
probably
5
still drop
days.
from. I think they still probably drop from those chests, don't they? Assuming that you're not doing Dragon Squid maps, which, let's be honest, everyone's doing Dragon Squid maps.
Yeah, nobody's doing anything but.
Yeah.
They totally do. But, I mean, sometimes, right, you get the unhiddens from the dragon skins.
Yes, you do.
So yeah, there's still a possibility here.
This one I'm not sure I like that they did it this way.
Yeah, I don't like that they did this way either. So there's 2 groups of extreme primal. What would you call them? Tokens?
Yeah, these are the rare tokens, not the ones that drop more regularly, but these are the HQ versions of the token.
And these only come from the extreme primals.
I believe so.
You have, for the first set, you have 1 Inferno Horn from Ifrit X, 1 Cragheart from Titan X, and 1 Diamond Tier from Shiva X, or 1 Vortex Feather from Garuda, 1 Barber of the Whirl from Levi, and 1 Large Levin Orb from Ramu.
You need those 3 items to get 1 sand.
Mm.
It's probably not worth doing it this way either.
Like, Honestly, that one I would expect. They added some new Orchestrion rules, and it does include Orchestrion rules from some of the newer primals. So I'd expect that'd be more stuff that people incidentally get while they're going for Orchestrion rules than anything else.
Or for pony farms or things like that. But
I still need to get my ponies.
and then there's
Anyways.
other items. Now this one actually isn't that expensive, and it's a way that you can use up some of your your poetics tomes. Five superior enchanted inks and 5 Thavnarian mists will yield you 1 sand.
I might just have to do that.
This is actually one that I'm not going to shit on. I like this.
Yep.
This is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been capped on poetics for a long time, so there we go.
450 poetics tomes will get you 1 sand. If you're capped, that's 4 sands.
And it's not like you're doing anything else with them.
4 sands, here I come.
I mean, because what I've been doing with them for the last bit was I've been buying up the Ironworks belts and desynthing them for Leatherworker. Because what else was I going to do with them?
Yep.
Exactly.
But now you can get sand.
Yep, and it gives me a reason to run the other roulettes to get the tomes. And it makes hunts valuable again.
Yay.
Huzzah, options.
They already were valuable again because you can get lore buffing items out of the hunts now.
Yeah, but that started with this patch.
Mm-hmm.
As well. But like I said, I'm talking pre 3.3. The only ones that were valuable were the Heavensward ones because they gave lore tomes.
Right.
Nobody needed SO and poetics anymore, unless you were still working on your normal your regular relic.
Well, even your 210 section.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Nothing in this game stays worthless for long.
That's true. I mean, except for Diadem and Lord's Verminion.
I was waiting for the Verminion.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, Lord of Verminion is only relevant 3 times a week.
Oh my god, not even Lord of Verminion. Hold up. Diadem isn't irrelevant.
No, I know it's not. People still do it for gathering. The battle portion of it and the gear portion of it's basically irrelevant at this point, unless you just want to try and get gear to turn in for spoils, to turn in for materia.
Well, even that, I can get gear when I'm gathering. I mean, I still get chests and.
Yep, I did the same.
But it's not as busy and as lively as it once was.
No, it's pretty died down, but it's not dead.
I'm hoping that they basically take it and they redo it, and we get some sort of system that has some specific goals in mind that open up different options within the zone and make it so you have to like work together. I heard.
So, anyways, that crystal sand.
Okay, sorry. I was getting on a tangent, but it was going to be a good tangent. But anyway. The last other items that you can use are 2 Machi Farthings and 5 Allegan Catalysts. Now, that one's kind of expensive as well. And the fact that the Farthings still have a use, I would avoid using that one.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. Because, I mean, yeah, I have, 14 of them, but...
You need
I'm
one.
I'm probably going to use it on my gear.
You need 1 per week along with the item that drops from the new 24-man in order to upgrade your lore gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, so, some items get multiple uses.
Yep, so that one I would hold off on that. But we had kind of teased about this one earlier in the week, saying we found the best way to get it. There is an option where you only need 1 item. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but it's not always a guaranteed drop. But it will make another thing that's been less than relevant again. And what is that, Sayo? Sorry, I do it all the time. God.
So this is the Ember encased Vilekin.
The Ember encased what?
Thank you for that. Very subtle. So the Ember encased Vilekin. I had never heard about this either. when I saw this on Ulan's note, I had to go to Google. I'm not gonna lie.
They've been around since Heavensward came out.
I
But
mostly just used them for orchestrion rolls.
These are from any capital letters ANY treasure chest found in a Heavensward guild leave.
and it doesn't have to be a temple leave. It can be any guild leave.
Yeah.
Because the temple ones are the 10 ones, right?
Yeah, the temple ones are the 10 ones. You can get these from individual guild leaves.
And just to be absolutely clear, when he says any, he means every. If there is a chest, you're getting an amber encased vialkin.
But not every leave is going to give you a chest.
Right.
Chili uses up all his RNG magic on running the Aquapolis, and he only got 1 vialkin then out of 100 leaves.
But I mean, like, it is totally
you do need to look hard for the chest. Fly close to the ground, but you know
it can spawn a little bit outside of the normal leave grounds. I definitely, as I said, I spent my time hunting them for equestrian rolls. But yeah, you can totally just start the leave, go look for the chest, find it or not, abandon the leave, restart the leave. If you've got nothing else to do with your leaves, you might as well.
Or you can do it on a job that needs the experience and finish the leave if you don't find a chest and get the experience.
Or you could find some sort of alt that doesn't have or that you don't really have a use for, but you can still, get it on your main while you have it out. Friends alt or heck, somebody that's even willing to sell you their leaves.
Yeah, team up with someone. They get on their character, start the leaves, find the chest,
let you open it
because they're not tradable, correct?
They're not tradable.
Also, important note: if you are doing the temple leaves, those chests reward you with 5 vialkin. So it's a little bit less efficient than if you're doing the single leaves. But on the other hand, if you don't want to spend that long going around through 100 leaves one at a time, it's a reasonably faster way to still get a decent shot at it.
Is it the same percentage of getting a chest, or is it a higher percentage chest chance on those temple leaves?
I have no idea. I did not do enough to really get a good feel for it. That was the option I went for when it's like, you know what? I just want to blow through my leaves and get what I get, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, the efficiency is a lot lower, but again, it's a little bit more efficient in terms of how much of your sanity you preserve.
Mm-hmm. So that is how you get the sands. Now, what do you do with them?
So you basically just equip your relic, or I'm sorry, equip your anima.
It's a relic. That's fine.
Sure. So you equip your weapon. You go to this person. You go to this Ulan person. And she basically bad touches your poor little anima.
She didn't mean to. It just kind of happened.
The first time she totally meant to.
She did totally mean to. She's like, I know this is going to hurt the thing, but let's do it anyway, just so you can see what happens.
The first time was just like a gentle brush, like, oh no, sorry. The second time was like, oh yeah, let it happen again.
Yeah, baby.
But,
is it warm over there, Luna? I hear your fan.
You hear my fan?
Thought I heard a fan going on over there.
I hear a motorcycle.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway.
We're hearing things.
I was hearing something. You'll hear it too on the stream.
So, you basically go out to this person and trade one for one crystal sand and umbrite, and you get anywhere from 3 to 5.
You'll get 3.
Points to allocate toward your animal weapon, and it's basically any secondary stat that you can possibly imagine.
Let's not kid ourselves. You're getting crit debt.
Crit debt, spell speed, skill speed, parry.
Whatever ones are relevant to your job.
Yeah.
You can't put spell speed. You can't put spell speed on the bard weapon. You can't put skill speed on the white mage weapon.
Right.
They're totally wrecking my brilliant idea I had.
Max out spell speed on your ninja weapon.
Oh man,
Cast-
so much ninja magic.
Yeah, cast those mudras even faster,
Oh
right?
God.
It's
That's
magic.
how that works, right?
It's
But no,
magic.
here's a legit question. I've been debating what to put on mine. For a scholar, what is the best?
Crit debt.
Probably still.
Crit debt.
Scholars,
Go
crit
crit
debt.
debt. Every time, all the time.
But that's going to give you 5 more points to put somewhere else. So you probably want to put those on accuracy.
Yeah.
So wait, what do I want to do now?
So here's the deal. You've got 240 points, but you can only put up to 120 in most of the particular stats, with the exception of determination, which maxes out at 115 for some reason.
They've always had a lower cap for determination.
So if you go crit debt, you're only going to have 235 points spent, leaving you with 5 more points to go. Probably the best place to put those is accuracy. If you,
Okay.
Or
Plus,
especially as a healer, you need accuracy. Your gear
Especially
has
as a
none.
scholar with broil.
Yes, you need accuracy. But though, like if you're not hurting for your accuracy cap, put it into skill speed or spell speed. Otherwise, like I said, I mean, you can build this up any way you want. Most people are going to maximize their crit for sure, and most likely their determination. Some people might be looking at doing a crit skill speed one or a crit spell speed one, so they can cast their things faster.
like Undertale here with all this determination.
Filled with so much determination. But yeah.
Black Mage's crit spell speed.
So, but like I said, I mean, you can actually, if you want to, you can go 80 crit debt skill speed or spell speed if you want to. You really could.
Put everything into parry and be the mockery of all your friends.
Parry and accuracy, right?
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
Everything's gonna go wrong.
So yeah, that is the Anima relic in a nutshell. Everything's in a nutshell today. What the hell's going on?
I do appreciate
I'm trapped
that.
in a nutshell.
I do appreciate that this time around. Last time when they had the, hey, you get to customize your stats, they had it with the individual materia, and it became a matter of, oh, hey, this materia becomes more expensive, and it became actively harder to add some stats than others. This one is a lot more friendly towards, no, you actually can customize it meaningfully without needing to have millions of gil.
Yeah, that's nice. But I mean, they do make things purchasable, so I mean, you can still buy your relic if you really wanted to and have it in X amount of time. With the exception of, right now,
the SO grind.
The SO grind required that we're aware of for the Umbrites. Like I said, it's entirely possible that Umbrites might be attainable some other way or will be changed to be attained some other way. So don't count that out as an option.
I mean, I guess if you think about it, Umbrites are kind of the equivalent of the Alexandrites, and they eventually did add more ways to get those.
Yep, I mean, they started out by you had your daily map that you could get, and then you could buy maps for an amount of points.
Yeah,
and then
then you also had, I believe, they added in growing company seals later.
Allied seals, actually. That was when no hunt was ever unpulled after 30 seconds.
No, that was how you bought the other maps. No, wait, they did actually have them where you could buy them there.
Allied seals were purchased direct purchase for Alexandrites.
Yep, you're right. The maps were purchasable with tomes.
And eventually they made it so that the maps gave a lot more Alexandrite, and then they made a drop from Fates as well, and it just all went from there.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they do make those easier to get eventually.
Yep. So I do expect to see a lot of party finders asking for noobs to run through content. Get that bonus dough.
Yeah, the most efficient way for SO right now is probably either
Ravana Farm with a really good team.
Ravana Farm with a really good team. A thorough chemical research facility. They actually changed this quite a bit. It now gets 150 SOs.
But it takes about 20.
It
takes about 20 to 25 minutes to run though on an average run.
Yeah,
good DPS can do it in about 15, but like I said, you're gonna probably spend more than that on there.
I mean, even more than that with good DPS. I mean, Skade Rissonide can do it in about 20, 22.
You could PvP in Tome Farm there.
Yeah.
But do your roulettes as well. Your daily leveling, your 50 and your 60. It's going to give you some lore, some SO, and some poetics. Because like, remember, you can buy items with the poetics as well. For the Crystal Sands.
There is there is trial roulettes too. It can be a point of contention with some people because you're only going to get Nidhogg. Let's be real here.
Actually, I didn't get Nidhogg today. Amazingly, I got the best one I could have gotten. Westwind.
Ooh.
Lucky you.
I had that a little while back. That was, God, so satisfying.
Done in a minute.
Done in a minute, and you get the poetics.
Yep.
Jealous.
So there is a trick. Should we tell them the trick?
I feel like scum, but whatever. Okay.
Well, okay, yeah.
First shit.
Okay.
And at this point, you learn that Phoenix Down Radio, we are all horrible people.
Well, basically, if you don't want to get into content, or if there's certain if you don't meet the eye level of content, you're not going to be able to get into that content. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you do the math.
So if you have another 60 that maybe isn't geared up high enough, you won't be able to get into higher level content.
Oh,
Or
no.
you just strategically de-equip pieces of gear
I didn't
and put them
say
back
that.
on once you're in.
I didn't say that.
For the
Hey, we're
record,
gonna-
Sarah Timono said take off your gear to get into dungeons. Everyone heard
Sarah.
it. We have
They were
nine,
gonna figure it out eventually.
we have 9 viewers, 9 witnesses, plus the 3 of us.
Plus
Sarah
anybody-
Timono.
Plus anybody who listens to the podcast later on.
To be fair, there was an awesome person that kind of enlightened me to this in an actual trial run. So I can't remember your full name, but I don't even know if you listen to the show. But thank you.
All right. Well, that was a lot of time spent on that. We should probably keep going.
Be nice, people.
It depends on what you're in the mood for. If you're not in the mood for it, you know what? You're not going to be very good to anybody on it. So, you know what? Do what you need. Do what's best for you, really.
That's reasonable. I would say if you find you're in that mood every single time, maybe take a look at what's going on with your life.
Good point. So what do we have in lore this week? What are we going to delve into in the lore-brary?
Woo! So I mean, given how much we had to cover with the new patch, I figured we should keep it simple. Couple shows back, we talked a little bit about the tools gathered from the level 50 crafting quest. And so I decided this week, let's go ahead and finish that off by talking about the gathering tools that you get from those quests.
Yay!
As a side note, there is new gathering and crafting gear. It's high mithrite and augmented whatnots, and it's like, you know what? I kind of expected it, and I'm still kind of disappointed. I'd still like to see a little bit more of that, hey, let's invoke these really cool legendary stuff. And these ones, I mean, the leatherworking pizza cutter is still kind of hilarious, but otherwise it's just not really doing it for me. So, for our gatherers, we've got 3 different tools. Botanists got the tool Rowney. Oh, hang on. Someone is giving me a thing. I just received a thing. Oh, neat. Cute.
What'd you get?
You'll probably get one momentarily. So
You already
Rowney
gave me something. What'd you get?
Rowney is a deity from Finnish mythology.
He's not going to tell.
Not until I'm done. Her exact identity and role, it's under a bit of debate. It's something that's kind of... There's a lot of conflicting information for who or what Rowney exactly was. Depending on the sources and the etymological analysis, Rowney might have been a mate or consort for Ukko, the god of thunder, or just another name for Ukko. Might have been an earth goddess who held the rowan tree sacred, or some mixture of all of that. One myth I did find talks about how in ancient prehistory, Rowney, very big on growing things, plants, as I said, her sacred symbol was a rowan tree, looked down upon the earth, saw that, hey, the earth is really dry and desolate. It's kind of sad. She was upset about it, so she came down to earth and took the form of a rowan tree and called upon Ukko to strike her with lightning. Uko sent forth a lightning bolt, and it sort of like energized and livened her and caused all manner of plants and green things to come forth. And so in that legend, Rowney is kind of the mother of all plant life on Earth. It's a little bit weird to give the name of a goddess for have this goddess that's responsible for bringing forth all this plant life and give that name to a tool that cuts down the plant life, but we've got that connection there. For the miners, you have the pickaxe Mammon. Now, that's the one that a lot of our listeners have probably heard of before. It originally appears in the New Testament of the Bible, not as any kind of deity or spirit or whatever, but just to mean material wealth. You've got, I'm using the King James translation here, Matthew 6:24, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. More modern translations just use the word money instead of mammon. There's also from 1 Timothy, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Mammon is literally material wealth, but it's probably easier to understand it as greed and a desire for wealth. Later on in medieval times, it was actually personified as a demon of wealth and greed. Spenser's The Faerie Queene and Milton's Paradise Lost both included appearances by Mammon as this demon who is kind of like ruling over and tempting people with promises of wealth, material riches, all of that. Those of you who have played Chrono Trigger, you may recall the Mammon machine in the Kingdom of Zeal, this machine that was drawing power from the alien entity Lavos. And there it's also kind of involved with this whole lust for power and like the misery that results from that. I rather like it as the name of a mining tool. I really think Tolkien said it best in The Fellowship of the Ring, when Gandalf is talking about the dwarves of Moria. Even as Mithril was the foundation of their wealth, so also it was their destruction. They delved too greedily and too deep, and disturbed that from which they fled, Durin's bane. A lot of you are saying, oh no, it's Saruman who said that. Saruman said it in the movies, Gandalf said it in the books. So this pickaxe, it's that greed, that lust for wealth, that thing that has you delve deep and greedily in pursuit of these precious gems and metals. So I just really like the evocation you get from that. And then finally, you have the fishing implement, the halcyon rod. That one comes from the mythological Greek nymph Alcyone. Alcyone was the daughter of the god of winds, Aeolus, and according to legend, she and her husband Ceyx were a very blissfully happy couple, and they often playfully referred to each other as Zeus and Hera. That ticked off the actual Zeus, and Zeus went ahead and sank Ceyx's ship with a thunderbolt. Alcyone threw herself into the sea in her grief when she found out that her husband's boat had been lost at sea. The gods took pity on the couple, and they transformed them into birds, kingfishers in particular. There's actually a genus of kingfishers that is referred to as the halcyon. Supposedly, during the 7 days before and the 7 days after the winter solstice, Alcyone makes a nest and lays her eggs on the beach. And during this time, her father Aeolus holds back the winds, calming the seas so that his daughter's nest will not be disturbed. And so halcyon, like referring to about halcyon days or halcyon time, has come to mean a time of peace and calm. It can also mean like a lucky break or a happy time in the midst of trouble and adversity. So when we're looking at it for a fishing rod, it's kind of this rod that calms the turbulent waters, brings on these peaceful, idyllic fishing sessions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Plus you've got, you know, Alcyone is an actual kingfisher, so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, when they're looking at Halcyon, they may just see the whole definition of it as like, hey, it's this peaceful, calm, whatever. And it's definitely meant to evoke that for fishing, and it just comes from that because of the Greek mythology connection, which I thought was a really nice touch there. And as I said, we actually do have that entire genus of kingfishers. They're viewed as kind of like these birds that are closely tied to fishing that dive and scoop fish from the water. Their actual diet includes a lot more bugs and the like, but they do have that connection to fishing. So especially if you're looking at just from the, here's the mythological perception, here's this thing we want to evoke, they're really kind of perfect for it.
So now we've gotten the lore behind the names of the previous tier of gathering implements. I'm with you, Sarah. I really think that they should work hard and bring the new ones that come in 4.0. Give them some of these special names as well. Give us more to really dig into on it. Give it some depth, not just a augmented mithracite basted chunky monkey thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of deities, gods and goddesses and demigods of the hearth, of crafts, of various types of things. People often think of like the war gods, the love gods, but a lot of those ones that are related to those, as I said, the hearth, the craft, those are the ones that were a lot more relevant to people's daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to pray that often for victory in war, but you would be praying pretty frequently that your food comes out good today.
I really want the next mining tool in 4.0 to be called the chunkiest monkiest now.
That would be
Chunky
It'll be
Monkey Rocky Road.
No, chunkiest monkiest. We gotta make it kind of sound a little whimsical.
The culinary and offhand will be an ice cream scoop.
There we go. I want ice cream. Can I have ice cream?
I can so go for ice cream.
Chunkiest monkiest?
The chunkiest monkiest.
All the things we talk about when we go off track. Thank you, Sarah. We're still trying to come up with a good name for the segment. I'm kind of leaning towards Loreberry, but Sarah hasn't really picked a favorite yet. So
nothing's really resonated with me yet.
If anybody in the audience, anybody listening on the podcast, if you have any ideas, you can always tweet them at us at PHXDN Radio. You can email them to us at podcast@phoenixstarradio.com. Like our next person did. We actually got 2 emails from them. From the person who took about 10 minutes in the show and decided to slap me repeatedly in the face.
My future waifu.
Yep. And self-proclaimed cunt. So
it's okay when British and Australian people say it.
And it says it in the email. I can send you this email, people, if you don't believe me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one, Chili. Just saying. It's an idea.
It's interesting.
It's cute. It's cute. But anyway, we have Paul Metal sent us a couple of emails. And we're going to start with the first one that he sent right after the last episode. In your latest podcast, you said stuff about helicoptering dick. I don't think that this is about Final Fantasy XIV. Well, no shit.
He clearly has not.
It's totally relevant.
Well, it was relevant in the fact that we were talking about it in the context of your partner, Chili. And
I would just like to note that this gentleman clearly has not been down some of Uldah's finer alleyways.
Anyway, so he starts off the email with that. But if you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, helicoptering dicks, go check out episode 19. Spin it like a helicopter, and you will get the reference. It's a good episode. I think a lot of them have been really good lately. So go check those out if you're new to us. And we've got a couple of new followers, so thank you for that. Like I said, if you're totally new to the podcast, go check out some of our other stuff out at our website, phoenixsoundradio.com. Continuing on. But I would just like to know, what do you think will happen in the story with Ida and Papalymo? Because we see them a lot at the end of the story, but I'd like to know what you guys think of this in depth. Now, I'm not sure how in depth we can get because we're actually running kind of long. But
forbidden romance. I think that really says it all.
It's possible.
I'm not even sure.
So I know we're going there in 4.0. Wherever they're at, we're going there. And it's been assumed that they're in Alamigo, and that we're going to go help the Alamigan resistance and beat back the Garleans, blah, 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 blah. Maybe their love will bloom in these war-torn areas.
Ah, the Desert Rose.
Ida's going to be married with Papalymo's child. Or pregnant, married with Papa. What am I smoking? Right?
Lalafell grow up pretty fast, right?
She's got a baked potato in the oven.
Oh.
So those are some ideas. Also, this next question is for Sarah. With the new patches coming out, will they bring in more lore, and in more patches to come, will there be more lore? Will there be more lore?
I'm thinking not. I think they're going to be like, you know what? We're just done with lore. People are just going to give us a random selection of words, and then we're going to say, okay, and then we're going to stab a guy in the face and we'll get loot.
Monkey's chunkiest, I'm telling you.
This is like 5th generation MMO.
Yeah.
Words, face stab.
Here, stuff,
Shit.
poke, die.
That
Dodge,
formed too much of a
die.
coherent narrative, Klaus.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But yes.
Carburetor.
Well,
Delectable. Then face stab.
We have to keep Koji in with stuff to do.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be so sad and lonely.
Yeah, so just to keep
They're
Fern
not going
Halls,
to actually put any of it in, but they'll keep asking him for stuff. That's my prediction.
okay.
We'd like to keep Koji employed. That'd be great.
Yeah, Koji is life. Koji is love. At least for us over in NA.
Yeah, we need his puns.
Yeah.
And his revenge. Of the Horde.
Aqua Gleam Hunger Force.
Also, question for Klaus as a top end raider. Yeah. How can one get in a raid team /static, and how to work on your DPS so you can get in a static? I'm going to give you a TLDR on this. Keep working on it. If you think that you're good enough, you're not. You need to you need to work on it.
Try going to Stone, Sky, and Sea and trying different button mashing combinations. And if one of them makes it die faster, remember that one.
The nice thing is there's people on the internet who've done a lot of this work for us. So we can go out and we can look at what they've done and we can try it on our side and say, this is interesting, but if I do this instead, and if it's better, hey, you've worked on it.
Alternately, redefine numbers so whatever you're doing is the biggest number. That works for some branches of math.
Guys, I'm going to tell you how much we love the show right now. Pale Rider is up, and none of us are moving.
Yeah.
We love you guys that much that we're skipping an S rank.
Yep.
Yep. The guy that's been grinding away at
we take the time out for you guys.
I can just hear the foot tapping, like tap, 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 tap.
Because we love you guys. We are doing this for you. Like I said, I'm giving up drinking at a buddy's birthday to be here with you guys because I love you that much.
We all love you that much.
So continuing on, basically, and to actually get into a group, I would say I'm very lucky in the fact that I've been able to meet a lot of good people within the game itself. So play the game, do different things, be energetic, outgoing if you can. Talk to people that are in the game, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I said, I got into my current static because I met them through Diadem, and we had a blast together, and we ended up becoming fast friends, and I ended up being able to join them because they had a need for me. So I've joined other statics because I checked out their party finders, and they requested specific jobs. Talk with them. See what they're looking for. See if their needs meet what you can do. And like I said, just it's a process. Don't get disheartened if you're having issues. Now, I know you've been working on a couple of different statics yourself, so I think you're taking a lot of that to heart personally. So for everybody else who's looking to get into progression rating, that's basically what you need to do. Is you just need to make sure that you're working hard on it, that you never consider yourself the best, that you're always going to work on improving yourself and make sure that you're trying. That's all I can really say.
It's kind of a lot like real life in that, like, people talk about networking and knowing lots of people. It's like, hey, if you just know lots of people and you're reasonably well regarded, then you're like, oh, hey, this friend of mine has this thing opening up and I thought of you. Just like the more people you know and the more connections you have, the more opportunities you have for that kind of message to reach you.
Exactly. So I hope that was a good answer for you. Continuing on. Also, another question. Sorry for all the questions, but this one's for Sayo. With Black Mage, what DPS rotation is best for Black Mage and why? I don't think you're going to be able to get into an in-depth one, but maybe is there a TLDR you can give? Or maybe we can expand this one on another How Do I?
Maybe, but I mean, if you want my opener, start with Sharpcast, Fire 1, Leylines, Fire 3, Raging Strikes, Inokin, 2 Fire 4s, Fire 1, 2 Fire 4s. If you got that second Fire Starter, use it. If not, then just go into Swiftcast Flare, Convert, another Fire 4, Blizzard 4, Thunder 1, or I'm sorry, Blizzard 3, Thunder 1, Blizzard 4, and then back to Fire 3, and then you just go into your regular Fire 4, Fire 4, Fire 1, Fire 4, Fire 4, Blizzard, ad nauseum.
Yeah, I'll bet you didn't think we'd answer all this stuff, did you?
I mean, that's what's given me the best numbers, ? And I've tried a whole bunch of other ones. You know, the one we start with Fire 3, it didn't really work out too well.
Now, the biggest thing with Black Mage and somewhat with Bard as well is you need to make sure that in order to get the best numbers, you want to be as stationary as possible. Now, most of the time, that's not possible because we all know that a boss targets a Black Mage with ley lines out.
It's just like a rule.
Yep.
But I will say that we do have Mana Ward, Mana Wall for a reason, folks. Use them.
Yep. Determine whether or not the attack is physical or magical and use the appropriate one.
And just keep on casting. A, B, C, always be casting. So that's it from me.
And we could, and like I said, that's one thing we've been discussing, maybe bringing in possible openers, rotations, discussion on the different jobs as different segments in the game. So we might go into more depth on that one later on. So continuing on again. Also, one more question for the sexy Luna.
Oh, God.
With characters, do you think it's a good idea to change your character's race a lot? I think he's
no,
poking
it costs too much. Next question.
It's poking fun at your Fantasia addiction.
Yeah, I'm actually really liking sticking with Aura for quite a while now. So I think I might have settled.
Should be something different next show, folks.
No, don't.
No.
Klaus?
I'm gonna do 2 shows.
Thank you, Sarah, for having faith in me more so than Klaus.
After that one Zayla bad touched my Anima, I'm not sure I trust Zaylas anymore.
Uh-oh. Thank you for being hella awesome with the podcast. Your best, Paul the Cunt Metal, hee hee. I hope that was able to answer some of those questions. And then we got...
I can attest that he is actually in the letter.
Yes.
He was laughing in the letter.
Yes. And this email came to us a couple of days ago. Hey, it's your good old cunt Paul here. That's exactly what he wrote. Here to ask you guys some more questions. These questions are more about MMO and really more Final Fantasy XIV being one of the best MMO out there, being has that may I... What the hell did he write here?
Is this purposeful misspelling or?
Well,
being as that may, I'm pretty sure he meant to say.
Yeah. Being as that may, I want to know your points about MMOs and how Final Fantasy XIV has beat most of the MMOs out there. He's kind of fanboying on Final Fantasy XIV, but that's all right.
Just a touch.
Question 1. As story goes, there are many MMOs that have good story, but Final Fantasy XIV has one of the best stories and is very different from most MMOs out there. Why? Because Final Fantasy is story.
Couldn't have said it better.
It's definitely something that they give a lot of focus to.
It's the selling point for this particular game. But Final Fantasy, from the beginning, has had good stories. And I think that they're just making sure that the story writers from those games are continuing that tradition on in this game and making sure that it keeps people entertained. Go ahead.
Especially because a lot of people who come to the Final Fantasy MMOs come because of the Final Fantasy name. So it's extra critical to make sure that they're keeping up that tradition. It's what people have come to expect just from the name alone.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to say this. There are certain things that Final Fantasy XIV is not quite as good at. I would say...
Heresy!
the raids and things like that, they're not quite as good as some other MMOs, but you know, you can't be the best at everything.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy is story, and that's why it has such a good story.
I mean, I will say that the rating counters that we do have, 14 is just very, very, very polished with everything that it does do. There are just certain things like basically the lack of diverse gear that's kind of pissing some people off. But I mean, those things are kind of few and far between.
Well, see, okay, I'm gonna be blunt with it. My issue with rating is it's very basic. We get a hard boss fight. I mean, even when Coil started, we had some trash and almost a dungeon-like experience to start with. It devolved from there into a big boss fight.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that's where a lot of people are complaining about the raids that we have. They're very predictable in their style. It's going to be big boss in a circular room and very difficult mechanics. It's not a dungeon raid. It is just it's a glorified trial.
Yeah.
So that's my only beef really with the game. But like I said, I mean, don't get me wrong. They're difficult and the learning curves are high and it gives you something to really strive to do. But like I said, I think that they can improve that. I really do. They've got the people, they've got the developers, they've got the technology. They can rebuild it. Moving on. Question 2. With graphics, Final Fantasy XIV has very good graphics, but how does it run so well on older PCs?
So I can mention a bit about that. There's actually a pretty famous set of slides that go around from when Yoshi P gave a talk at GDC, Game Developers Conference. The original version of Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, the graphics engine was kind of insane. You had flower pots with higher polygon counts than players. It was absolutely gorgeous. It also meant that you needed a super high-end computer in order to be able to run it. When I was playing 1.0, in the wintertime, my computer could serve as a space heater. It was kind of impressive. And so when it came time to, when they were working on A Realm Reborn, Yoshi P was going around asking about various specs, things like that, but was talking about how he wanted to revamp the game engine. And the expectation is usually like, oh, we want to make it more advanced, make it something that requires better ones. So they were actually really surprised to hear him saying that, no, he wanted to tone it down a bit to make it so that a larger variety of computers could run it. He didn't want it to be the type of thing where, hey, you have to have the greatest gaming PC available in order to do it. He wanted it more accessible. So the graphics engine has actually been designed with an eye towards having it be able to run on lower end computers as well. It still looks really good, but it's definitely a lot less taxing, and that is very much by design.
Yep. And if you've got the hardware to handle it, you can turn up things. So I mean, I have a pretty high end system. I've got everything turned up. From what you guys see, we get a very beautiful, very smooth, very in a lot of ways, in a lot of terms, lifelike textures and images. But if you don't have that highest end PC, you can turn those things down and still get a very serviceable and still very good looking game to play. I mean, you can play it on a PS3 and make that work as well in a lot of ways. So they wanted to be inclusive more so than the previous one. Wanted to make it the most gorgeous looking game and most realistic looking.
Which it was pretty gorgeous. I'll give them that.
It was. I mean, like I said, I had a pretty high end system at the time back then too, running. But even then, I had the highest end graphics card I could buy at the time, and it still only would probably get me about 38 to 40 frames a second.
On max settings?
Yeah. No, I don't think I could even have max settings. I had a GTX 295 and I couldn't max settings.
But so yes, that hopefully answers that question for you.
Okay. So they made it beautiful because they did what they could and to be as inclusive of everybody and that's why they can run the game.
Yeah, it is actually made to be more compatible with older PCs. They actually gave more of an eye to that than is typically given.
Yep.
That's also why we have a DX9 client and then a DX11 client.
Yep. Question 3. With a new patch coming out, do you think there will be more DLC with Final Fantasy, or do you think it'll just be patches? Because I know other MMOs have a lot of DLC. What do you think of this?
I don't even know what he's asking here.
Is this supposed to be? Are there going to be more expansions? Like, Paul, if you're listening in the chat, you mean DLC? Like Heavensward was an expansion DLC, I guess.
I'm not convinced that this isn't just an elaborate troll, Mike.
It is Paul, but we're giving him the time because it's Paul. He's a part of our sister podcast, and it might be a serious question too. If he means as in yes, he says
absolutely.
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
Okay, so
you mean as in an expansion? Yes, they are planned out for a couple of different expansions. They've mentioned 5.0.
Oh, have they?
Yes. I don't know how much of it was tongue in cheek, but they've talked about it.
I mean, like, they talked about how far the stuff needs to be planned in advance, given that we're not quite there, but starting to near the end of what we're going to be doing with 3.0. They probably got a lot of 4.0, at least the ideas and a lot of what they want to do prepared for that, which means they're also starting to think about what would we like to do for 5.0. You do have to start the process very early on.
Well, let's put it this way. We're a year away from 4.0.
Probably a little bit less.
Or less even. We are right within that year time frame, 10 to 12 months away from the next expansion.
The development cycle is a cruel mistress.
I am going to go out on a limb and call it probably March.
He meant expansion, so.
Okay.
We will be getting 2 more patches. That part's been confirmed. They didn't say they said that we weren't gonna get a 3.55. They can change their mind if they decide that 3.5 is too large. They could split it.
So more and more of their development resources are going to go to 4.0.
I mean,
as we get closer.
there could be a patch called 3.55, but I don't think it's going to be a huge story patch like our 2.55 was. I think what they meant.
It'd be much more in line with what the 0.05s usually are.
Yep. Maybe like the end of the season for the feast.
The feast,
or maybe some small quality of life changes in there. But so we will be getting expansion 4.0. That's basically been confirmed. We just don't know when or what.
It will be dropped at NA FanFest. What it will be,
more than likely. But they've talked 5.0. They have mentioned 5.0. Like I said, it might have been slightly tongue-in-cheek, but they're thinking about it. They want this to go for another few years.
I wouldn't be surprised if they, at the very least, have kind of the basic outline planning stuff going. Like yes, we don't have anything super definite, but we at least want to think of the basic shape of it.
Yep.
As long as this MMO is profitable, they will make expansions for it. Look at WoW.
That's the best answer right there, actually, and probably the most. Even
MMOs remain profitable in some fairly extreme circumstances.
I mean, even 11, I think, is still making money.
Yep.
And
there's less than 1 million people playing that right now.
Let me slightly rephrase if I can. As long as it's profitable to maintain a development cycle that facilitates expansions, you will have expansions.
Yeah. Because I only have a player base that's interested and engaged, and
it is a business. It is about the money.
Mm-hmm. So then, getting into his last question, with the player base of Final Fantasy, what makes it different from any other MMO?
I think the MMO, like Final Fantasy player base, there's a lot of older players in it, so maturity might be the factor. But then again, it's us.
Well, I mean, like, there's different types of maturity. It definitely, like, I wonder if that's something that's true for MMOs as a whole, that just, like, the player base in general has gotten older, or if that is something that's specific to 14. But I do know you have, like, people who are who are considering themselves some flavor of gamer or game player, who are, like, that age group has moved up a lot more than it used to be. It used to be something where it's like, oh, it's just much younger people. It's just high schools and maybe college students. And now it's definitely including people who are middle-aged, even like some senior citizens.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the thing with MMOs, if you've got a subscription-based model, you're generally going to have a little bit more of a serious type of player involved with it, because in order to continue to pay a monthly subscription to play a game, you have to be somewhat invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's generally going to be the people who have a little bit more disposable income. So maybe they're going to be a little bit older. And also, I found that the people who enjoy Final Fantasy are generally a little bit more laid back. Like I said, this is all anecdotal evidence, my personal opinion, what I've seen. None of this is scientific. Take it all with a grain of salt. Lots of salt. But
Oh dear, we're on to the salt again, are we?
but you know, if you look at the free-to-play MMOs, have you ever noticed that there's a lot of younger players on those?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't necessarily have the money for a subscription fee. And there's also, I think, just because there isn't necessarily as much of an investment in it, there's a little less attachment to it.
Mm-hmm.
And without that, like as you're saying, without that attachment, there's a lot more willingness to
Abandon or just to rage because they don't, you know, they don't care. If they're not getting what they want out of it, they don't care.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's the impression I've had.
We're very lucky to have the community that we do. I would say that Final Fantasy XIV has probably one of the most expressive and creative groups of people. I mean, look at all of the different content creators that we have out there. We've got people like Denmo creating all these awesome videos. We have a lot of people who create beautiful fan art. We have some people who do things like Eorzean Eats. We have lots of podcasts. We have a very active subreddit. We have a lot of other sites like Blue Garter that are very active with people playing.
And so, it does seem like there's a social dynamic where when you have those people who are doing that, it attracts people who are interested in that type of thing, and it can become something that sort of feeds on itself in a positive feedback loop.
Yep, and we're getting a lot of more like-minded people that we're drawing into it. We do occasionally get a few bad seeds. We do get a lot of people who rage, a lot of stupids, a lot of bads. But you get that everywhere. Everywhere gets that. I mean,
some of those are people who are like, hey, they're drawn in by this, and maybe they just don't know yet, hey, this is something where we're doing things a bit differently. Mm-hmm. I always hate to call them bads because, like, a lot of them are not necessarily bad people. They're just like, hey, you're not quite doing stuff right here. You know what? We're going to be nice. We're going to teach you how to do this stuff.
Okay, I use it as a generalization term.
I know. It's always one I found a little weirdly problematic.
Okay.
I may be overthinking this.
Maybe, but, you know, it's not always meant as a specific derogatory term.
I'm fair. I try to be nice to everyone. I believe in the basic goodness of others.
And there's your first problem right there.
Seriously. Freaking delusional.
So, that is our emails. Thank you, Paul, for both of those emails. I thought we had a nice little discussion on them. I hope that you were able to get what you were looking for out of them. And if you want to send an email to us, by all means, feel free to do so. podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. You can check out our website, www.phoenixdownradio.com. I will be posting the podcast up there probably within a couple of hours. You got to give me some time to get everything situated, clean it up a little bit, and but we'll be putting that out yet tonight, early tomorrow morning, along with all the show notes of the links to the Blue Garter slicer translations. And
definitely some good reading in there. Go for those, I would say.
Yeah, and just let us know what you think. I mean, we really do want your feedback. If you're interested or you want to share this with us, we do have a YouTube channel as well. It's not a named YouTube channel, so just go search for phoenixdownradio.com or Phoenix Down Radio out there. We do have links at our website as well. But we're looking for people to subscribe out there too, because if we get 300 subscribers out at our YouTube channel, we will get to create a custom URL for it, so it'll be easier for us to share that. So if you're interested and want to subscribe to get all of our podcasts and the occasional what's the word I'm looking for, highlight videos from some Twitch streams, we'll put some of those out there as well. And also, like I said, we are here every other Saturday night with doing this at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. And if you really like what you're doing, you can do like our friend Chili from the Moogle Around Radio from PlayStation Unchained over in the UK. And he is also a $20 patron out on our Patreon site, patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. If you like what you hear, you can throw a couple bucks there. And like I said, it really will help us to continue to make a good podcast here, kind of offset some of the costs that we're getting in that. Because the more we try to keep this, as high quality as possible, it does take a little bit more money, a little more resources. We're currently doing this mostly on ourselves, but if you like what you hear and you want to help us out, we're not going to turn you down. We're still going to provide this for free. It's if you want to help out. So
yeah. The Patreon name really, it kind of harkens back to this whole idea of patrons who support an artist, support someone who's making cool stuff in order to create this thing like greater social good, like bringing this awesome thing to everyone else and being someone who supports it.
And just to explain, if you're not familiar with what Patreon is, the actual site itself is a lot of content creators will go out there and you can pay them for new artworks that they do, or like for us, we're doing it just on a monthly thing because we're constantly going to be doing this every other week. We're not going to, make you guys pay to be a patron for every episode we put out. We're just going to do a monthly thing just to simplify it. Because if we get to a certain level, we're actually going to go weekly. That's a high level, but it's one of the stretch goals. As little as $1, you can become a patron and you get access to certain things, but we do have different levels, $5, $10, and $20. At the $20 level, like Chili is at, he gets a shout out at the end of every show. He probably would have gotten one anyway just because he's awesome. But if you want to join at that level, like I said, we're not going to stop you, and we're going to thank you very much. Everybody who helps out will get a huge thank you from us. So or if you just want to give a one-time, we do actually have a link below the show to our Twitch alerts PayPal. So, and Paul, if we go weekly, you will not be out of a job. Don't worry. We'll figure out a different way to make that work for it. So, we wouldn't knock you guys out by any means with the Moogle Go Round. So, don't worry about that. All right, man. So, that's how you can find different things with Phoenix Down Radio. How about personal plugs? Anybody want to do any shout outs?
Shout out to Moogle Go Around Radio. Definitely go give them a listen.
Yep, like I said,
we just said a million times, but still, I'm saying it again.
Reminder that the next episode of Moogle Go Around Radio will be this coming Saturday, right here at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio, because the Phoenix Down Radio crew is going to be the guests hosts.
Ooh.
So they will be Moogle Go Around, but on Phoenix Down Radio.
I'll give a shout out to the absolutely lovely people with whom I did Sorkai and the Final Steps of Faith. They put up a party finder looking for people who wanted to go in that kind of semi-blind thing where we're not going to necessarily study up massively on it ahead of time and just go in and have a good time with it. Had a lot of really good fun. Was a really fun way to end it out. It's always nice to find people who you can really share those moments with, and to be able to have it. I know we talk a lot about doing stuff with your friends, doing stuff with people with it, which is also really awesome, but also just meeting new people and doing something a little fun out there and making that connection for a moment. It always makes it a little extra special. So thanks to you guys.
Yeah, that was fun. Actually, there were a few of us. I think Luna and Seo and myself were also a part of some of that. I helped with the final steps. I wasn't available for Sorkai, though.
Yeah. No, having extra people for final steps was nice because then it meant we could continue that thing of, hey, we're going to go with a slightly more relaxed thing and not stress super much if not everyone knows it ahead of time.
Yep, and this way you knew people who knew it, and we weren't going to yell at you when you screwed it up.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, you learn stuff so much better once you screw it up once or twice. It really sticks in your head.
It does. Some people learn better that way. And I wish people would realize that people learn differently. Anyway, different tangent. We'll talk about it on another show.
But yes, thanks to you guys. It was great.
Seo.
I think I'm pretty good this week, actually.
All right.
I mean, I do have my Twitch channel. I keep saying that, I'm going to do something with it. But I just need to get off my ass and do something with it. twitch.tv/Samuel_FFXIV. So you can follow me there. You can follow me on Twitter at Samuel, and you can start hounding me to get better at social media and Twitch, I guess.
Get better at the thing.
Do the
Get better
things.
at the thing. If you want to follow me on my Twitter, find out when I go live on my Twitch stream, head on over Luna_Vox over at Twitter. Also on Twitch, it's Luna_Vox. And you can hear me talk about random shit about the game and different anime that I watch. And D&D adventures eventually. I mean, we're still setting up details for that.
I can't wait to see that.
That's going to be interesting.
Critical Role in the Vox Edition.
Ah, yes.
If you really want to follow me on Twitter, that's at FFXIVSayre, SEYRR. I mostly talk about random librarian stuff and occasionally take pictures of whatever I made for lunch. So I can't promise it's going to be that interesting, but apparently some people want it. I'm not going to judge you that much for it. Maybe a little bit.
I want to give a shout out to some of the other content creators out there. Like I said, I gave a shout out to Denmo. I want to throw a shout out to Vegan Pete and Aviale at She Heals I Tank. They're a podcast that I have been listening to quite a bit. A lot of fun. They have a special segment on their show called Drink About Eorzea, where they create an FFXIV themed drink every week. So if you're interested in stuff like that, and hearing about a soon-to-be married couples experience in a MMO, definitely go give them a check out at She Heals I Tank. Want to shout out to of course Moo Go Around Radio, because you guys are awesome, and looking forward to working with you guys next week. Though you're making us work on our off week, better make it worth it, guys.
Hey, we don't have to prepare notes. It's all good.
Ooh.
Yeah, we just get to come in and be pretty and awesome. And
say provocative stuff.
And definitely a shout out to everybody watching tonight. We've got looks like 9 people in the chat right now. I'm gonna give a shout out to Chili, to Majoga. I hope I pronounced that right. To Major Douche, to Mato Hinsa, to Moogle Quest, to Paul Metal, and to Stunt Gaming 101. I want to thank all of you guys for stopping by and watching us live here at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. And a shout out to everybody who listens to us on the podcast or checks us out on YouTube or on the other different sites like Stitcher, iTunes, or Google Play. So, and you can also follow me on Twitter at Klaus_FFXIV, Klaus with 2 S's. So, anybody else have anything else they want to talk about? Going once?
I still kind of want ice cream. Can we just get ice cream?
All right, I sound like Sarah wants ice cream. So, for Sarah Tomono, for Sayomeo, and for LunaVox, I am Klaus Nightbringer, wishing you all a wonderful evening. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.